Public Safety Commission has been called to order. Tonight, Commissioner Nickel will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Please rise if you can and put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to acknowledge that the West Hollywood Public Safety Commission acknowledges that the land on which we gather and that is currently known as West Hollywood is the occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Gabrielino Tongva and Gabrielino Kits peoples. With that, can I get a roll call, please?
Testing. Okay, our mics are a little wonky this evening. Commissioner Eng?
You're right. Here.
Commissioner Hallman?
Here.
Commissioner Nickel?
Here.
Commissioner Pilarski?
Here.
Commissioner Post?
Here.
Chair Harrison?
Here.
Please note, Vice Chair Blau is absent from tonight's meeting. And we have a quorum.
Wonderful. The next item is the approval of the minutes. Are there any changes to the agenda? Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? No changes. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Chair, may I get a roll call? Commission Secretary?
Commissioner Eng?
Aye.
Commissioner Hallman?
Aye.
Commissioner Nickel?
Aye.
Commissioner Pilarski?
Aye.
Commissioner Post?
Aye.
Chair Harrison?
Aye.
The agenda is approved.
Item 5 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes from August 25th, 2025? I see no changes. Commission Secretary, can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Eng?
Aye.
Commissioner Hallman?
Aye.
Commissioner Nickel?
Aye.
Commissioner Pilarski?
Aye.
Commissioner Post?
Aye.
Chair Harrison?
Aye.
The minutes are approved.
Thank you. And next we'll be moving on to item 6, public comments. Commission Secretary, do we have any speakers at this time or any Zoom callers?
Yes, we have some speakers. Let's see. First speaker is Stephanie Harker. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, members of the public. Chair Harrison. I just wanted to do what I did at the Disabilities Advisory Board, and I will do at every board, which has little or nothing to do with public safety, but it has to do with all of this, and that is, I find the land acknowledgement insulting to Indigenous people. I hope that we can do something more concrete than just keep saying, oh, we have your land, sorry. I hope that we could do something significant, like name something after the local tribes or something that's there every day to remind us. Per safety, I'm sure you'll hear more about this tonight. A well-known sexual predator has been released again from prison. I don't know when he was released, but he's been arrested over 30 times. That's on the sheriff's website. For some reason, he's constantly released, but in 2019, he was sitting between my buildings, being naughty, and my neighbor had videotaped him. So I think it's a problem with the system, because peeping Toms are only misdemeanor, I believe. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why he keeps getting out. I believe that the repeat offender case doesn't apply to this either, but it's pretty terrifying. And in the past, he has become violent, and he has dragged people to the ground, women to the ground. He follows them into their buildings and things. So because of people like this, and it not being that safe on our streets anymore. I mean, we all are responsible for our own safety, but it's this type of thing that concerns me, with the removal of 210 parking spaces with no place for the people to park except maybe on Santa Monica and Crescent Heights, leaving people to walk home at night or early in the morning. And I feel that that is an unsafe thing. So hopefully with the bike lane project, they will figure out where to put these people who drive, who have their families, who work. And I don't believe that it's safe to walk home at night in our town or any other town these days. Thank you.
Still off.
Hello. Oh, now we're in business. Okay. Next we have Rick Watts. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. I want to again complain about the electric scooters issue. I'm very, very disappointed in Council having just approved, not merely reapproving, but actually Lime adding another couple of hundred, as I understand it, scooters to their fleet of vehicles that they are taking zero responsibility for the misuse of by the riders. My 84-year-old housemate, who just re-injured his hip last night, you have to go out walking around the block as part of his physical therapy most nights. And rarely a night goes by when we don't run into one or more scooters riding on the sidewalks, either coming at us or coming up behind us. Persons with sight, mobility, hearing, or cognitive disabilities may or may not be able to get out of the way of these things. The riders don't take responsibility. They either zoom on or flip you off, and Lime, who is making the money off of it, they refuse to take any responsibility for it. So from my perspective, it's the city's dang fault for reapproving the program and exacerbating the problem by even adding more scooters. I'm going to ask your body to please recommend to Council that they do something about it. Either force Lime to take responsibility on the scooters or get rid of them. They have no business being on the sidewalks, but there's zero enforcement, essentially zero. And we already know that there have been a lot of injuries due to them, and nobody's taking any responsibility for it, legal or otherwise. I also want to echo Stephanie Harker's comments a minute ago about the parking that's being eliminated on Fountain with respect to the redoing of Fountain Avenue. And there are a number of folks that have to drive because they are disabled, like my housemate. Fortunately, we have on-site parking in our building, but there are many people who don't. And walking from Crescent Heights and Santa Monica Boulevard for some is physically difficult, not to mention unsafe, depending on what else is going on and who else might be out there on the streets. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Next, we have David Eckert. David, if you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Commission. I'd also like to agree 100% with Stephanie Harker's comment about parking. That is a major safety issue that has seemed to just go away. And great, we got bike lanes, so I'm all for bike lanes, so that's great, but we have thrown out the baby with the bathwater. Secondly, with regards to that, I think it is time for this Safety Commission to start putting an agenda together that bicyclists, if we are supposed to all follow the rules of the roads, then we should have bicyclists take classes just like you have to take a class to learn how to drive. We have to start this movement that everyone has to follow the rules. I find too many bicyclists don't know what the laws are. I see many not stop at a red light. I see many run through a pedestrian crosswalk while it's flashing and give the finger to everyone else. It is time to make this equal safety for all, and it's time for a commission to actually start paying attention to that. It's the same with the scooters and everything else. We put so many different mobility options in front of us, but no one is really looking at the bigger picture of safety. You ask drivers to always be the one that are responsible for everything, but everyone else is just as responsible. And I'm really sorry to say I was very excited about going with the bike lane thing, but I could not justify that I live on Fountain and the amount of problems that are going to be created. 100% the parking issue. It's not fair to me or to anyone that lives on the street that nobody on that steering committee had a voice to guide this, that it was all about adding bikes. So I would love this commission to start really paying attention and putting laws and onto council about being a progressive city and making it important that everyone knows the laws and have licenses and license plates on bikes to follow the rules. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, we have Adam Aramian. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Public Safety Commission. It's good to see you guys. Adam Aramian, City of West Hollywood, and I come to you guys this evening just to provide some information that you guys may not be aware of. I know we are all aware of the hot dog vendors in West Hollywood on the weekends, but now we have illegal alcohol sales in West Hollywood on the weekends. It is a pop-up cart that shows up. 2 weeks ago, they were in front of the Bank of America on Santa Monica Boulevard, and they also stage up in front of Green Queen on Santa Monica Boulevard also. I know we deal with a lot of illegal vendors in West Hollywood. The hot dog vendors we could deal with, but the illegal alcohol sales is very serious. Unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, we had a stabbing at one of our bars, outside one of our bars in West Hollywood. Who is to say where that alcohol came from? From my understanding, the person who was stabbed was underage minors. This person selling alcohol on the streets is not checking IDs, is not checking anything. They're very savvy, and I've spoken to the city about this, and the Sheriff's Department is aware about it, but I also want to bring it to the Public Safety Commission attention as well. Hopefully we could figure out what's going on and put an end to that so illegal alcohol sales do not happen in West Hollywood. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And our final speaker is Helen Krieger. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Helen Krieger, and I'm with the Transportation and Mobility Commission, and I am our liaison to the Public Safety Commission, so I will be showing up periodically and just kind of listening into your meetings, and I will be around and available if you guys have questions on any of the work that we're doing on the Transportation and Mobility Commission. This is just an opportunity for us to kind of coordinate a little bit better between our commissions so that we can, sometimes we have some different things that overlay with each other, and so this way, hopefully there can be some better communication. So if you guys ever need to get a hold of me, I'm helencommissioner@gmail.com. Helen is with 1 L. And thank you guys so much for letting me be here.
Thank you, Helen. And I believe that is all the public comments. So yes, that's all.
Thank you. There is no unfinished business on the agenda this evening, so we will start with our monthly report from the Los Angeles County Fire Department.
Testing. All right. Good evening, Commission, Chair. Thank you for having. Thank you for having me. My name is Kevin Price, Battalion Chief, LA County Fire Department, located over here at Fire Station 7. Here to give our stats for the month of August 2025. We received a total of 614 calls for the month of August, for which it approximately works out to about approximately 20 calls per day for the 2 stations that we have here in West Hollywood. Of those 614 calls, 5 were fire calls, 433 were medical calls, and 46 were service calls, and 122 were good intent calls. Of the emergency medical calls that we received, the 433, the breakdown is 119 of the calls were ALS calls, 214 were BLS calls, basic life support calls, and then 333 of those calls of those patients were transported to hospitals for the month of August. In regards to the fires that we had received calls for the month of August, none of them were significant. We had 3 structure fire calls, for which the total was the most for one of the fires, a structure fire at 1155 La Cienega, was $9,000 in property loss and $9,000 in content loss. And then we also had a cooking fire at 905 Sweetser, for which the damages were approximately $15,000 in property damage and $15,000 loss in contents. Other than that, the fire department, at this time, we feel well supported. I'm here on behalf of Chief Drew Smith, who couldn't attend. He wanted me to relate to all the citizens and everybody that we have our brush season is approaching. We're actually in it right now. The weather has been cooperating with us pretty good so far. We did have a hot summer, but it's cooled down. So we're just preparing for the Santa Ana winds that are coming. And just be careful out there. Make sure you do your clearance. And that's all I have.
Thank
Any
you
questions?
very much. Commissioners, any questions?
Thank you, Battalion Chief. Appreciate you being here and those updates. The main thing that I wanted to ask, over this last month, I think it was early this week, or last week actually, the county released its county level after action report from the fires back in January. And I was able to read some of that. I know the Sunset Fire, the one that was closest to us here in West Hollywood, was mentioned in that report, but not really fleshed out. I know there were certain recommendations around the emergency alert system and evacuation routes and things like that, but I just wanted to see if you had anything from that after action report, if there are any highlights that are pertinent for our West Hollywood community out of that report.
Well, thank you for the question. From what I understand, that the after action was dedicated more so to the Paradise and the Eden fire. The Sunset Fire, although it was around the same time, it was the LA City fire, and I was actually one of the battalion chiefs on duty that day and did respond. And we working with Danny and the city. The city was well informed in regards to the alerts that went out. I think there were some false alerts that went out, but other than that, I was in communication with Danny, the city manager, the whole time during that fire, and I believe that there was nothing else that I got from the after action review in regards to the city of West Hollywood.
Thank you so much for that. And I think we're supposed to have a agenda item eventually brought back to us about the WeHo specific report. So I'm sure we can answer any questions around that then as well. So thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions, commissioners? Do we have any questions from public speakers?
I have no public comments, or there are no public comments.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you for having me.
Next up is item 8B, is from Block by Block Security Ambassadors. He'll provide a report on August's activity. Erica, hello.
Good evening, everyone.
I will keep my report short and sweet and answer your questions if anybody has any, because I would like to make some personal comments after I'm done. For the month of August, our ambassadors conducted 3,097 business contacts, made contact with 1,167 unhoused individuals, responded to 743 calls for service, and provided 53 escorts throughout the city. August was still a little busy for us out in on the boulevard, but as we started to wind down through our services, we were able to navigate through some challenges through September. So, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer those.
Commissioner Eng?
Thank you, Chair. Manager Erica, whose last name I don't even think I know. Oh, Leon. Of course I do. Manager Leon, can I ask if any of the August uptick, if you think that it had to do with the trolley not being around, like that there was more people on the street, or that we had transportation removed? Do you feel that affected any of the numbers that you saw?
In regards to what specifically, like unhoused contacts, or?
I mean, I guess overall, right? Because now what happened was that we eliminated a free transportation for the weekend and evenings, at least for the time being, and I just wondered if it had any effect on overall safety numbers or incident numbers.
I wouldn't say so. I think activity, during, from what I remember, during trolley hours in the Rainbow District was always kind of busy. Obviously, a lot more people are on the street because that service is not available. But I don't think I have any data that correlates, the loss of the suspension of the trolley services to any uptick in activity.
Okay, thank you.
No. Commissioners, any other questions? Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have 2 public comments. First one is David Eckert. You are available. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Once again, David Eckert, West Hollywood. Just want to say thank you for your service to Block by Block, but I also have a couple questions I've never really heard what the reason is that Block by Block has changed over and why we're going with the new company. I've looked and I just can't find any real information on that. And then I was concerned about why we are moving forward with a group, if we're such a progressive city about paying people what they're worth, why are we lowering what the hourly rate is going to be for the new allied block by block system? And lastly, what is the new branding going to be for this? Or is the numbers going to stay the same for public? I just feel there has to be a lot more information provided to the public. Thank you, and again, thank you for your services. You will be missed.
You're welcome. Thank you, David. And our final speaker is Stephanie Harkert. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening again, Stephanie Harker, City of West Hollywood. I wanted to comment briefly about how we've been noticed, or actually how we have not been noticed. I did read something online about the phone number changing, but that it would be, for the time being, it would be forwarded on. I don't know what happened. I haven't read up about why we're changing companies, but one thing I did remember reading was that the new company was the lowest bidder. I just have trouble with us handing our safety over to the lowest bidder. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure the transfer will be okay. But especially on the east side, we rely so heavily on block by block. Just their presence. They're not, they're not sworn officers. They're not armed. But we really have relied on them, and I'm sorry with whatever happened, but I hope that we can be noticed better, the entire community, about the new phone number. And we have WehoTV, Channel 10, or you can watch it online, or you can see it on YouTube. And yet, what are they showing constantly on Channel 10? We're showing, you know, the 40th anniversary party, like for ad nauseum. I mean, it continues. It's the perfect place to at least get it out to everybody who has cable. So please, please help us out here in community land to find out what these numbers are and what happened, what transpired. And like I said, I'm sure the new company will be fine, but we need to know, and outreach needs to be better. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And that is all for the public comments.
Thank you. Next up, we will have a report from. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Erica,
Sorry, Bill.
Erica, my apologies.
No
My
problem.
apologies.
I just wanted to take a second just to thank the City of West Hollywood on behalf of Block by Block for allowing us to serve the community for as long as we did. We are forever grateful for the opportunity to serve in this way to the community. I want to thank everyone in the Public Safety Department, Danny Ribas, Anita Shandy, who's not here, Jessica, you know, our partners at the Sheriff's Department, Captain Fanny Lampkin. It brings me great joy to say that, Captain. Sergeant Jason Duran, everyone at Code Enforcement and our fire department partners. When I first came on board, they welcomed me with open arms, as well as many of you. I've had very personal interactions with all of you. Todd, you were the first person that I think we went to go visit on my first day here, and you were just great. All of you have been so fantastic towards me. And then, you know, to the community, our neighborhood watch captains, you know, everyone that has supported Block by Block. I've gotten to know you well over the last couple of years, supporting neighborhood night out parties, Halloween, you know, everything in between. So we're just so grateful. I personally will take a lot with me, a lot of valuable experience, lessons. I'm forever grateful, like I said, to the partnerships and relationships that were formed here. There's no city like West Hollywood. I know a lot of you, you know, might not think so, but this city gives the community such a platform for you to have your voices heard. I've never worked with a city that does that listens to you so closely and takes to heart what you have to say, your feedback, what's important to you, and acts. They really do care what you have to say. So it's a really special city, and I am forever grateful to have been a part of it. So thank all of you.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you again, Erica. Next up, we'll have a report from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Sergeant Duran, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Okay, for the month of August, West Hollywood station personnel handled a total of 1,873 calls for service, 94 of those calls being for an emergency response. Deputies made 31 felony arrests, 86 misdemeanors. Our Part 1 crimes for the month, we had 140 incidents. When broken down by district, the West accounted for 58% with 81, City Center 13% with 18, East 29% with 41 of the Part 1 crimes. There were 42 reported pickpocketing incidents in the Rainbow District. Our MET team responded to a total of 66 incidents for August, and our sorts submissions were 64. Our West Hollywood station volunteers donated a total of 281 hours for the month of August. Again, I always do praise them when I come and report their numbers. Our volunteers are very dedicated, and their service is invaluable to us at the station. On Sunday, October 12th, AIDS Walk LA returns to the city. There's going to be some significant street closures on that day that I want to make everybody aware of. Santa Monica Boulevard from Doheny to La Cienega will be closed for a good portion of the morning from approximately 7 a.m. Till 2 p.m. approximately. And San Vicente Boulevard is going to be closed from Melrose to Santa Monica from 5 a.m. to approximately 2 p.m. Halloween planning is still in effect. We've been working closely with our public safety partners, fire department, city public safety, and our partners at our Emergency Operations Bureau to ensure that everyone's going to have a safe and fun Halloween. We're expecting a very large crowd this year, so a lot of planning is taking place. I wanted to touch on a couple of quick things. On September 14th, everybody's aware that there was a stabbing that resulted in a murder here in the city. That case is still actively being investigated by our Homicide Bureau. They have identified a person of interest within that incident, and when their case progresses, they're going to do a release, but we don't have much more information that we can share right now with that. I know there is going to be some questions. I'll try to answer them the best I can when it comes to that, but again, it's an ongoing investigation, which is a very serious one, obviously. So I'll give whatever information I can give, but again, I'll be limited. With that, I'll open to questions.
Commissioners, questions? Commissioner Nickel?
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Sergeant Duran. Thank you for your report. I will, of course, start with the stabbing incident. So when you say that a person of interest has been ID'd, there's not been an arrest in the stabbing itself, correct?
There was an arrest made, yes.
Okay.
But that's all I can say.
Got it. You say that's all you can say, but is there anything you can say about the incident itself? I understand that there were many people involved, that there were possibly other arrests, motive, cause, anything that you can share.
I can share a little bit of information about some of the rumors and things that were going around with that incident. It was approximately 3 in the morning, and there was a lot of people out in the street. There was a fight that kind of ensued, and there was a large group that kind of were surrounding and watching. That translated into a lot of different rumors that we heard. We heard there was a big street brawl with 40 people involved. There was a group involved, but it was not nearly those numbers. So it was something on the street. A lot of people were out there just because it was a late night bar crowd that was kind of still out on the streets. So it wasn't a big 40-person brawl, but there was a fight that was involved with this.
Got it. Thank you. I also wanted to ask about the burglary that happened on September 4th, where a dog was killed during the burglary. I understand a person was arrested. We've often talked about these burglaries are part of groups of people that come here from out of the country or out of our city. Was this part of a group like this, or was it something else?
Something else. It was a specific person. The person that lived at that location had a prior, I don't want to call it they knew each other very well.
Okay. And then, of course, it was also remarked on the east side, we know very well this individual, the Peeping Tom. The police were called a few years ago because he was outside the window of my neighbor who is in her upper 80s. And there is great frustration about him being released. I know that some of these things, they're certainly beyond your control, but can you give more information? I understand he was arrested yesterday. Is he still in custody? And can you help explain to people why he keeps being released?
So yes, he was arrested yesterday, and he was arrested for an incident that occurred on the 19th. We had a report of an indecent exposure, and he was a suspect in that incident. And our deputies were able to locate him yesterday, and he was arrested. He is still in custody, and he's being held. He has numerous other arrests here in the city of West Hollywood, ranging from a variety of different things. One of the reasons why he had a lot of releases from those other cases was it was a prior regime with the DA's office that some of their standards for arrests weren't being prosecuted, and he qualified for a lot of those. So that had a big factor. This is a new arrest. We're hoping that this one will have some penalty or some sticking measures to it.
Thank you. And I'm sure that it puts people's mind to rest to know that he is still in custody, at least now. The last thing is, Mr. Aramian did bring up about the illegal alcohol sales. I've seen this. This person has an Instagram account and advertises what she does. What can we do about this? I know that you and now Captain Lapkin have often talked about chasing down these vendors. Hot dogs are one thing, illegal alcohol sales are something else.
Yeah, so the hot dog vending thing, we have been working with the city's code enforcement team to assist with that. Adam did bring this to my attention last week, and we immediately took action. We met with our entertainment policing team and their supervisor. We spoke with ABC, the Alcohol Beverage Control, and we went out here this past Saturday. ABC was out here undercover looking for her, and our teams were as well. She wasn't here this weekend. But we are going to continue to look for her to enforce any type of violations that she may be doing out there. We take it very seriously when somebody is selling alcohol, not only after hours, but potentially to minors, potentially to people that are over intoxicated already. It's a very serious thing for us, so we are going to be handling this the best we can.
Got it. Thank you, Sergeant Duran.
Commissioner Eng?
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to go back to Maritza Gonzalez, who was the young woman who was stabbed. Sergeant, first and foremost, she was 20, so clearly she was underage. I don't know if it's been ascertained that she was in a bar, but I want to ask how that's monitored, whether or not there are checks on what bars are doing. Again, word on the street was that she was a regular at one of these establishments.
So yes, she was under the age of 21. Where she was at prior to, it's all part of the investigation because what they're looking into where she was at, where the group was at, what was going on prior to this incident occurring. When it comes to bars and locations checking for IDs, some of our locations out here are restaurants and bars. So there isn't that flat qualification that you have to be over 21 to get into them. There is places that do sell alcohol, but don't have a requirement for checking ID. All of the bars have a requirement for checking ID, and ABC would be the people that would enforce if they're not doing that properly. They could fine them essentially for not checking IDs of people coming into their location or serving.
Do we know how often that's checked, or how often?
I don't.
Okay. And then going back to what I was going to say, Commissioner Aramian, what Adam Aramian mentioned about the alcohol sales, if this person has an IG account and is advertising, that's trackable. So I'm guessing, if they're aware, hopefully they're not watching, but if they're aware that it's being tracked, then certainly when they're back in the city, that's one way of making sure they're confronted. And then I have a question about Jackie Harrington. I'm glad to know that he is still incarcerated or in custody. I actually did not know who he was. I'd read about him a little bit, and then this recent arrest is what made me aware. Was he living in the city? Is that why he's continuing to stay in this area?
My understanding, he's a transient, but he does frequent the city of West Hollywood. We've been aware of him and know of him. Our teams know who he is.
Okay. And then I guess my final question is, there was a head-on collision on Fountain today. Do you have any details about that?
I think it was yesterday, actually. It was the one, did you read it on the local media?
Yes.
Yeah, it was yesterday. It was a head-on collision. One of the drivers, basically her statement was that she was trying to avoid a collision and she veered into oncoming traffic and caused a collision. There were minor injuries, people were taken to the hospital.
Commissioner Pilarski?
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually going to go to the DUI stats for August. And I just have a couple questions to make sure I'm interpreting these stats right. So it looks like we have about 6 DUI arrests and 5 traffic collisions. Am I interpreting that right, that it would be a collision and then someone would need to blow into a monitor and then they blow over the limit, and that's how it's determined that it's a DUI?
Yeah, so at the scene of a traffic collision, if the deputy or somebody involved feels that the other party has been drinking, essentially,
Right.
They would do what we call a field sobriety test in the field to determine, yes, they are impaired, and then provide a breathalyzer of some type. And then
Okay. So I guess my question is, I know we've received some money to do special enforcement for pedestrians and I think we had 2 of those in September. Is there an opportunity to do some sort of like DUI checkpoint in West Hollywood? Has that happened in the past? And
Yeah, those are also based on grants,
Okay.
and we do look for those from time to time. Currently, we don't have one scheduled, but definitely we have done them here in the city in the past.
Great.
I will check with our traffic enforcement detail to see if it's available and we can get one done.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of thinking like being proactive, trying to get them in before the crash. Um, and also just wanted to say thank you to the officers for the special enforcement days. We really appreciate those. Thank you for chasing that money, and it's going to a good cause. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Post.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate all the updates, Sergeant Duran. My first question, or first two, are both kind of follow-ups. I had asked about an individual who had passed away at Santa Monica and Fairfax sometime last month, and I just wanted to see if there was any updates in that investigation as to cause of death or other things. I know I had certain members of the business community that were interested in that case.
Yeah, again, with that, there's just some privacy issues there with a person. I can check with the coroner's office to see if there's anything publicly that they can divulge. Usually they do. They'll post, like if you do a web search on them, if you know the person's name, which we'll have that, you can see what the cause was. So I'll follow up again with it.
Thank you. And then the other question as a follow-up as well, I can't remember if there's another item coming to council about this, or if we're still waiting on Oversight Commission approval, but around the start of the drone program. I know we had some delays, again, sadly, due to the losses at the SEB unit, but just wanted to check in on the updates there.
So we currently have a drone at the station that's deployable. And again, it's not the DFR, drone as first responder route that we want to do here in the city. We're still in a holding pattern with that. We're waiting for the Sheriff's Department to come up with policy. From my understanding, we are very, very close to seeing that policy put out in place. We're hoping by the end of the year for sure. We'll see.
Cool, awesome. And then the last question that I had emailed you a little bit about this. I know that there was a lawsuit by the Attorney General Banta just around some of the in-custody deaths in jails, and I appreciate you sending the sheriff's statement. I encourage everybody to read the statement from the sheriffs as well as the suit. Unfortunately, we have had a number of deaths in jails this year, mainly out of the men's central jail. I don't believe any out of the West Hollywood jail itself, and I know my main question I just wanted to ask again was whether any of those deaths were folks that had been originally arrested here in West Hollywood, and if that information isn't available, happy to work with you offline, I thought.
Yeah, so that information isn't readily available to us. It would probably have to go through a PRA process just because this is part of a lawsuit now. It's not something that's going to be, accessible right now, but probably through a PRA request, we could probably get that information or assist you in getting it. But right now, I don't have that information. There's no way I have access to it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sergeant John, I just have one question. The special enforcements that have been taking place, I think you can universally agree everyone really likes them. It's great to see. Do you know how many more are coming in the near term? And also, is it possible to reallocate resources currently for special enforcement, traffic enforcement?
So currently, we don't have any more projects planned right now. There's nothing in the future that we have scheduled. Again, they're all grant-based, so they have to go through that grant process to get that money to have those special enforcements done. Our traffic team is always looking to see if those grants are available. Currently, I don't think there is anything. Reallocating some of our resources. So basically what happens is, every week or every month when we come here, we listen to some of the concerns that you all have and that the public has, and we direct our traffic enforcement team to go here, there, wherever it is. So that's essentially kind of doing one of those special enforcements. So for example, if people are saying that the people are running the stop sign at Cynthia and Hammond, we send our motor team there to try to hammer down on those violators. So it's essentially what we do. Yes, that's reallocating our resources when we hear of complaints, essentially.
Okay. But as far as staff increases go, we don't have an option or an alternative outside of those specially funded programs?
We do have overtime budgets where we can get additional staff. For example, for those projects, we did have other motorcycles come in from other stations to help us. There is overtime budgets that we can utilize from time to time to bring in people from the outside, and we can look into doing that.
Great. No, thank you. I think they're very successful, and I think we'd love to see more of them. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Do we have any public? Oh, sorry. Commissioner Hallman.
Why, thank you, Chair. Sergeant Duran, can you clarify for me? I remember when the drone program was initially pitched to us, there was a video of, I believe, the first sheriff's department that was using a drone program. I can't remember what that city was. Is it Chula Vista?
Chula Vista Police Department.
I just need some clarity. First of all, are they still using the drone program?
Yeah, they have a quite expansive drone program. I believe they have 4 drones deployed throughout their city.
Okay, so we're looking for policy to be mandated for us to be able to activate our drone program, correct?
Correct.
How is what we're going to do differ from what they're already doing? I guess because I'm trying to figure out, does this policy not already exist if they already have an existing drone program?
So the policy everybody's policy is different, right? So, example, Beverly Hills PD and Chula Vista PD, their drone programs are 2 very different things. So their policy differs quite a bit. The drone program that we had pitched here, very similar to Chula Vista, and the policy that Chula Vista had in place that was very similar to what we were going to mirror, basically. The sheriff's department, though, wants to have something that's going to be across the board for the entire department because there's multiple stations and cities, contract cities in our county that are now interested in drone programs. So they basically want a policy that covers all the stations across the board and not have individual policies per city. So that's what they're working on, to try to find something that meets the needs of everybody and that works for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Commissioner Nickel.
I just wanted to add, Mr. Watts did bring up something that I hear is a concern from a lot of people, especially from older adults in the disabled community, the scooters. They're a danger. I know that this month, I believe that there were 3 citations for scooters, 1 for an e-bike. I also know that our station is overstretched and you do everything that you can, but I would really stress, if at all possible, I mean, if people who are going to break the rules see other people who break the rules get a ticket, maybe they will stop. I believe in deterrent. So is there anything more that you guys can do?
So when it comes to the e-bikes and the e-scooters, we've let our motor team, they're the best enforcement for it, essentially. It is really tough for a deputy driving around in an SUV or a car to stop a scooter violator, right? So our best method is using our motor team, which is the motorcycles, to get around traffic, to get into the places where those scooters are moving quickly. So we do encourage them as much as possible to, when they see violators, to try to cite them and be visible with it. Visualization of people getting cites is a deterrent. I do believe so. I personally believe so.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions? Secretary, public comments, please.
Yes, we have 2. Stephanie Harker, if you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening again. Stephanie Harker, City West Hollywood. I want to personally thank the Sheriff's Department, everyone involved in being able to arrest Jackie Harrington so quickly. But I really want to thank my neighbor, Lala, I was hoping she'd make an 11th hour appearance. She's the one who put the Ring camera video on Nextdoor. It was a case where Nextdoor worked. And a neighbor of hers had shown it to her. And the action that was taken was so quick. But again, we have heeded the sheriff's advice of if you see something, say something. The fact that Lala put this on next door, KTLA apparently pays attention to it. They went out yesterday and interviewed people from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till the 10 o'clock news. They had it on 3 times, but they interviewed other people for the later thing. So I want to thank Rachel Menatoff, I believe is her last name, the reporter, for spending so much time on it. And I heard today that ABC had been contacting Lala as well. I'm sorry that she's not here to thank her in person, but it's this sort of thing that makes me feel good about the community in terms of seeing stuff and saying stuff, because it's really what works, I think, and I can't thank her enough. And I'd also like to thank the guy who invented the Ring camera, because really, where would we be without it? Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next, we have David Eckert. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, David Eckert once again. I'm sorry for so many times coming up here. I just, for Captain, would it help on, and I know you can't answer, just on e-scooters and everything else, I just want to bring up the point again that I wish e-scooters, bikes, individuals have license plates. Again, if we're patrolling these individuals, it's easy to take a picture and, later on go on. We have a picture of you running a red light or, hitting someone. I just think, again, it's a good policy that we should really start investigating. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, we have Jonathan Feinstone. If you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is directed specifically to the Sheriff's Department. There was a fire at my neighbor's house. It was alerted to my security system. They alerted me. I called 911, and the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department showed up unbelievably quickly. So just a thank you to them. The Sheriff's Department, they had 6 cars respond in less than 60 seconds, and the Fire Department was about another minute. They did a great job. The fire got put out really quickly. It turned out my neighbor was just burning her tax papers, but it just shows a really fantastic response by both parts of our law enforcement, our public safety. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And our final speaker is Michael Cotillo. If you want to approach the podium, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Cotillo, resident of West Hollywood since 1992. I just had a thought with the e-bikes. I understand, in my opinion, that they're dangerous, and they're more dangerous when people are riding on the sidewalks against the ordinances. However, I feel like an easy way to better manage it is through code compliance, because another safety aspect is you see them lying around all over the streets. And even I can't get around them, and I am able to walk. But I feel very bad for people who are not able to get around as easily as I can. I can't imagine how they get into the grocery store, out of their driveway, out of their house. So I don't know if there's a better way that we could utilize our code enforcement officers to cite those situations where they see the scooters or the bikes just thrown on the street, carelessly blocking pedestrian traffic. That's just a suggestion. Thank you. Oh, and I just want to say something. Thank you very much to the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department, because Sergeant Duran and Captain Lapkin are doing an amazing job. We've definitely seen a difference in our neighborhood, so thank you so much for your.
Thank you, Michael. And that is all the public comments.
Okay. I just thank you very much, Sergeant Duran. And item 8D, the Public Safety Commission will receive a presentation on the city's Neighborhood Watch Program and hear remarks from participating watch group captains. Do any commissioners have any comments at this time? You guys, I'm rusty. This is after vacation. What happens to you? Your brain is rusty. Can we start with the presentations, please?
Great. If we can get the presentation up, the PowerPoint. Great. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, and members of the audience. My name is Jessica Anicum, and I'm the Public Safety Specialist for the City of West Hollywood. Tonight, I will provide an overview of our Neighborhood Watch and Resident Association program and highlight the vital role our residents play in strengthening safety and community connections. Neighborhood Watch is about neighbors looking out for one another, creating partnerships with our city's public safety teams, and ultimately fostering a stronger, safer, and more united West Hollywood. After this presentation, you'll also hear directly from several of our dedicated captains who will share their own experiences. Next slide, please. So at its core, Neighborhood Watch is prevention through connection. We encourage residents to be observant, report suspicious activity, and stay engaged. These groups foster collaboration between neighbors, city departments, sheriffs, fire, security ambassadors, and other partnered agencies. Just as importantly, they strengthen trust between residents and their city. When neighbors know each other, it creates a foundation where safety, accountability, and resilience can grow. Next slide. So we have about 14 established groups, some active more than others. These groups are resident-led and grassroots. Volunteers take the initiative to unite their blocks and set the tone for their communities. The city supports these groups with resources, but we don't dictate how they are operated. We do not fund their group operations except for providing funds towards National Night Out expenses. So at this time, I want to recognize and thank every resident who has stepped up to lead. Without your leadership, the program would not exist. Next slide, please. The true strength of Neighborhood Watch is that it belongs to the community. Captains and volunteers organize meetings, set group priorities, and engage their neighbors. The city's role is to facilitate and support, not to manage. We don't impose structures or dictate how each group should operate. This ensures that groups reflect their unique personality and priorities of their specific neighborhood within the city. Next slide, please. National Night Out is one of the city's biggest community building events of the year. It takes place annually on the first Tuesday in August. This past National Night Out event, we had 10 activations citywide, bringing together residents, local businesses, city staff, sheriff, fire, security ambassadors, and other partnered agencies. These events are more than block parties. They are opportunities to build relationships, showcase local pride, and strengthen trust with law enforcement and public safety teams. While the city provides financial support to each neighborhood group for event expenses, the organization, preparation, and production of these events come from the commitment and effort of the participating neighborhood groups. Next slide. For residents who want to join, first, you'll want to check if a group already exists in your neighborhood by visiting the Neighborhood Watch page on the city's website. Or you can also email public safety at safety@weho.org, and our team will connect with you and will connect you with a local captain. For those without a local group, we will connect you with the closest existing Neighborhood Watch group, or we may be able to help establish a new group. This all depends on interest from neighbors in your area, identifying leadership, and setting up communication tools. The city provides guidance, resources, and connections to get the group established. Next slide. To ensure success, groups are encouraged to define clear roles and responsibilities amongst members, maintain respectful, positive, and neutral engagement, follow a non-confrontational safety approach, which is watch, report, connect, rather than intervene. Intervention is left to the city, law enforcement, and other public safety partners. Always protect confidentiality and privacy when discussing neighbors or incidents. And these guidelines keep group focused on building trust and protecting community well-being. Next slide, please. Neighborhood watch groups are also vital communication channels. They share city updates, safety alerts, and event information with neighbors. During critical incidents or emergencies, they act as neighborhood communication networks. Groups often use newsletters, email blasts, group chats, and social media to keep neighbors connected. Importantly, they help build connections with our older residents, residents with disabilities, and neighbors who may need help, need extra support during emergencies. In short, Neighborhood Watch is about keeping everyone in the loop and no one is left behind. Next slide. Captains meet quarterly with city staff, sheriff, fire, and security ambassadors. These meetings allow for real-time updates, sharing of best practices, and collaboration. Captains then bring this knowledge back to their groups, hosting block meetings and gatherings that keep their neighborhood informed and engaged. This approach helps maintain open lines of communication, keeping both the city and residents connected and informed. Next slide. So with that, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of our captains and volunteers for their dedication. This program thrives because of your leadership, time, energy, and commitment to building safer, more connected neighborhoods. And that concludes my portion of the presentation. Now I'd like to invite representatives from our neighborhood watch groups and resident associations to share their experiences. Afterward, we'll open the floor for commissioner questions and comments, and then followed by public comment. And before we get them up there, I do want to read that Elise Eisenberg, she's a block captain for the West Hollywood Heights Neighborhood Association, was unable to attend to this evening's meeting. However, she did provide a written comment that has been entered into the record for this agenda, and a copy was also emailed to all of the commissioners. Okay, so let's do it this way. We will have each of you come up, and I can call names, and what you'll want to do is say your name and then what neighborhood group you are representing. So the first one, Wendy Goldman, if you want to come up. So I'm setting the timer for 3 minutes, give or take. Okay.
Hi, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm very happy to be here with you this evening. I'm Wendy Goldman, Cynthia Sunset Neighborhood Watch. Our boundaries, the north boundary is Sunset, south Cynthia. Our west boundary is Doheny. Our east boundary is Palm. We launched in 2022 with the emergency preparedness, our #1 goal. I wanted to make sure that everyone was earthquake ready. We meet about 3 times a year, plus National Night Out in August. I actively recruit new members by approaching pedestrians in the neighborhood, dog walkers, when I'm waiting in line at the grocery store, at my synagogue, and by attending and speaking at city council meetings, advisory boards, and commission meetings. I had started making a list of all the meetings I had attended since I started, and after 3 pages, I stopped. I am out there speaking about preparedness and about the issues in my neighborhood. And many of you, well, a few of you still on the commission have walked Sunset Strip with me and seen the issues that I'm most concerned about in my neighborhood, at least pedestrian safety issues. So the issues that are somewhat unique, not completely unique in my area because they do cross lines around the city. They include traffic safety due to rush hour gridlock, multiple digital and static billboards, and cell phones causing distracted drivers, delays in replacement of the Hammond Street bollards, severe lack of green canopy and environmental damage to our air quality, parkway damage caused by multiple dog owners and without an adequate dog park nearby, combined with lack of compliance by property owners to maintain the parkways. We have, of course, at Sunset Strip, tourism and nightlife, including sidewalk obstacles like restaurants, outdoor seating, by crews that regularly replace the digital billboards, causing gridlock with lane closures on Sunset. We have a deteriorating local economy on Sunset Strip with stalled development, numerous eyesores like boarded up buildings, and multiple vacant properties. We have unlisted vacant apartments that are not included in housing surveys. I manage outreach and communication alone via email, newsletters, and weekly Facebook and Nextdoor posts. The top quality of life concerns that we're observing, may I have 30 seconds?
Yes.
Chair? Oh, thank you. The street lighting needs to be improved at Cynthia and San Vicente near the fire station. We've had quite a few crimes committed in that area. Doheny and Cynthia traffic control. After numerous accidents in that location, we would like to ask for a traffic study on that intersection. We have pretty good relationships with our co-compliance and very good relationships with our community safety officers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy. Next, we have Michael Cotillo. If you want to approach the podium. And please state the neighborhood you represent.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Michael Cotillo, and I serve as co-captain of the Tri-West Residents Association Neighborhood Watch, alongside my colleague, Bob Steloff. I've had the privilege of living in Tri-West since 1992. I've only been co-captain for a couple of years, but I have enjoyed the service of other captains before me. This means I've been a part of this neighborhood through decades of change, and I've seen firsthand how essential the Neighborhood Watch captains are in keeping our community safe and connected. Tri-West is one of the most densely populated neighborhoods in West Hollywood, with over 1,500 residential units and more than 3,000 residents. In such a concentrated area, problems don't stay small. They ripple quickly. That's why captains matter. We are the first point of trust. When neighbors see something, they don't check in on an org chart, they call us. Because we're not strangers, we're not part of bureaucracy, we're neighbors. That's why residents listen, and that's why we stay engaged. Our rule, guided by the city's Neighborhood Watch Handbook, is clear. Captains act as the, quote, eyes and ears, close quote, of law enforcement. We connect residents to resources, and we build the trust that makes city systems more effective. In Tri-West, that has meant organizing meetings, recruiting neighbors, distributing information through email, flyers, and social media, and working directly with the Sheriff's Department, Fire Department, security ambassadors, code compliance, and city staff. What do we see? Property crime, traffic, and pedestrian safety issues, and the challenges of unhoused in our neighborhood. These are complex problems, but the solution always begins with connection. Someone paying attention, someone answering the phone, someone willing to follow through. That's what captains do. We are volunteers. We cost the city nothing, yet we deliver measurable value. We reduce response times by directing concerns to the right place. We prevent escalation by addressing issues early. We build credibility for the city because residents see that their concerns are taken seriously. That credibility comes because captains are independent, trusted neighbors. Our effectiveness depends on that unique position. We're rooted in the community, but we partner closely with the city. What strengthens us strengthens the city. What we need from the commission is support, training, communication, and timely feedback when we raise issues. When residents know their concerns are acted upon, it strengthens both safety and trust in our city government. On behalf of myself, Bob Steloff, and the residents of Tri-West, some of which are here tonight, I'm happy to see, thank you for your time and for your ongoing commitment to keeping West Hollywood safe. And I'll leave you with this thought. The strength of Neighborhood Watch isn't in its structure. It's in its neighbors. That's what makes this model work, and that's why it endures. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Next, we have Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, East Side Neighborhood Watch. I want to thank staff for the very thoughtful report, because I think it kind of outlines where we all stand. I also want to echo what Michael Cotillo very eloquently articulated, because I think he speaks for virtually all of us that have worked really hard to keep our neighborhoods represented and to work to make sure that we're all able to bring a more of a grassroots connection to the city, kind of in keeping with its history. Our Neighborhood Watch group goes back before cityhood. It was founded by Ruth Williams, and then more recently resurrected by Roxanne McBride and then Todd Hallman. And I took over 2 years ago. I want to introduce our block captains who constitute our board of directors: George Nickel on not Lexington, Norton, Cynthia Artingian, Gardner and Lexington, and Adam Armenian from Spalding. We currently have 5 members of our board, and we meet about every other month. We represent an area from La Brea to just past Spalding. And we try to have 1 to 2 community meetings a year. Our last community meeting was in April at Plummer Park. It was attended by well over 100 people, including 3 of the city council members and a number of members of the Public Safety Commission, which we appreciate. Our National Night Out have been very, very successful, taught us to set a very high standard. And this last year, we had over 300 people attending our event. We mostly communicate by email, and we have a website and even flyering, but also just the usual neighborhood connections that we all have in our neighborhood. We have been very instrumental on addressing a number of particular issues. We were responsible when Todd was chair for the installation of the 2 safety crosswalks on Fountain and Detroit and Formosa. We were very active when this commission voted to defund the sheriff. We were also active when there was an opportunity to refund the sheriff and restore funding. We were very active in lobbying for that. The council did not restore funding as fully as it could have, given that we weren't able to hire as many deputies as were available, but we were still very active in that. We have been very active, obviously, with issues that address us, including the Fountain redesign and the Gardner bike lanes. I do want to say that one of the issues that is sometimes lack of acknowledgement. In prior years, we used to always be acknowledged for all the work we do for National Night Out. The last 2 years, I don't recall us being acknowledged at all, which is sort of, I don't want to say that anybody does this for the acknowledgement, because I know my colleagues don't, but it would help raise the profile of our groups. Anyway, thank you for your interest.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we have Mike Carter.
Greetings.
Please speak into the mic.
Thank you for the kind words, Ms. Anyacum. My name is Mike Carter. I'm one of 4 captains of the Owls Neighborhood Watch. This is our mascot. This is Ogden Owl. And this is an award that Ogden won in 2019. They put the wrong name on it, but no worries. And these, if I can find them, were handed down to the Owls by Barb Krupa. these two little baby owls who I think was heading up the Owls Neighborhood Watch way back in the 80s before we were a city. We encompass the 1100 and 1200 blocks of North Ogden Drive, bless you, North Orange Grove, and North Genesee. So we have frontage on both Fountain and Santa Monica Boulevard. I got some questions, and I just want to go over the answers directly. How often does our group meet? It's mostly as needed, maybe 1 or 2 times a year. Do we actively recruit new members? Yes. What issues, if any, do we feel are unique to our area? And Ogden says it's our spotless reputation. How do we manage outreach and communication? It's mostly pounding the pavement and electronic platforms. Which electronic platforms do we use? We use email, texts, Facebook, boots on the ground, and spies. How often does the Neighborhood Watch outwardly communicate with the residents in our purview? Once or twice a month or as needed. What are the top quality of life concerns our neighborhood is observing? I would say, from what I hear from boots on the ground, vacant properties and incomplete developments and all that comes with them, which is a handful. We have 4 vacant properties on 1 block, and 1 is just a big hole. Do we feel that the issues we are raising collectively from our watch groups are being addressed in a timely manner from safety, code compliance, and various other divisions from the city who field our concerns? And I can only speak for our group and say yes. I find most of the personnel to be reasonable individuals. How can the Public Safety Commission and the city better support the neighborhood watch groups and captains in the work we are doing? I would say we should resume sending out city-sponsored invitations to neighborhood watch meetings. I think that might help, yes. And that about a 30% increase in NNO funding would be great. Residential sidewalk cleaning program, regular deep cleaning of commercial frontage sidewalks, and maybe we could invite commissioners for walkthroughs of our neighborhood. We're at ogdenwatch@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we have Daniel Sackler.
Good evening, Commission, and good evening. I'm the block captain of North Sweetser and North Harper, and we are considering we'd like to add Norton, Havenhurst, and Crescent Heights, who are not represented. Admittedly, we haven't been that involved with the official city watch group, aside from one of our captains. We need to do that more, especially given the uptick of things that have been happening in the neighborhood and what happened last week with our next door neighbor who, it's all over the press, whose dog was killed and he was robbed. Thankfully, he wasn't home. One of the issues that we'd like to address with the Sheriff's Department, we used to have a liaison. I'm not sure if that is, with the Sheriff's Department, I'm not sure if that is in place at this point. I need to be more involved to find out. But we only found out about this incident 2 weeks after the fact, along with 2 sexual assaults that happened on Sweetser. It was 2 weeks after and only through the press. So I don't know. I know that there are investigative procedures, but if there's a way that because we have real eyes in the neighborhood, we have a dedicated Facebook group with almost 200 people. We're in constant contact, and we give daily reports on things that have been happening or strange incidents. We actually, a few months ago, a young man lost his dog, and within 20 minutes, we had people outside, and we found his dog just running around. With regard to the ambassadors, the new program, I think it's Allied that's coming in. When we had meetings the last time, we asked for more presence on residential streets. I know the main drag is where most of things happen, but to have the presence, at least to have drive-bys with the Sheriff's Department and also with the new group of security ambassadors or whatever they're called, to come up just to show that there is a presence and there's a communication with us and with the Sheriff's Department. We were instrumental in helping put the lumps or bumps on the street to help speeders slow down, and parking permits, and those are just a couple of things. I mean, the crime is the main thing, but they're all part of keeping our neighborhood safe and keeping the neighbors who go outside at nighttime, especially. It can be scary, and we weren't able to do night out this year. We didn't get enough community help. We're hoping to ramp that up so that everybody gets involved. And thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. And our last speaker should be Ed Holman. We have one more speaker after Ed.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Ed Holman, and I'm a 29-year resident of West Hollywood on Flores Street, between Santa Monica Boulevard and Fountain Avenue, an area we locally refer to as Gelson Heights, due to its proximity to the Gelson supermarket. And so we chose that as our group's name, Gelson Heights. As a neighborhood watch block captain, I'm a volunteer safety liaison between the neighbors on my block, who I consider to be part of my family, and the public safety department in the city of West Hollywood. I gather safety information from the city via the city council meetings, public safety commission meetings, the city's multitude of websites and flyers from City Hall, and share that info with my neighbors. We as neighbors look for areas on our block that the city needs to be involved in to help make the streets safer by reporting items of concern to the city, by speaking with commissioners, city council, or by using the city's app, such as tree trimming around the street lights so that the sidewalk and street get lit up and not the tops of branches and leaves, or having a look at dilapidated properties on the block that might invite unwanted criminal activity or safety hazards. I take this responsibility to heart as I have lived on this block for more than half of my life. Area concerns in Gelson Heights are parking and the businesses along Santa Monica Boulevard and the employees that take up the parking, the city's vision for Fountain Avenue and the effects of losing parking, and the city's vision of properties along Santa Monica Boulevard between Flores and Sweetser that they just recently bought. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. And actually, our last speaker for the groups will be Jonathan Feinstone.
Can I have Ed's extra minute and a half? Good evening, commissioners. I'm Jonathan Feinstone, the president of the West Hollywood West Residents Association. We are not a neighborhood watch. We're a residents association representing 1,000 homes and over 2,200 residents. Each year, we host National Night Out in our neighborhood. This year, we had over 350 people attend. It was quite a successful event, highlighting crime prevention and fostering neighborhood goodwill. We recruit new members actively, primarily through that event and through our other channels. West Hollywood West is unique because we're a low-density, primarily single-family home neighborhood, and criminals consider this the creme de la creme for burglaries and robberies. Single-family homes are easier to case and surveil, making it simpler for criminals to determine whether someone is home or not. We've seen them operate on foot, in vehicles, and even disguised as AT&T and Spectrum salespeople. Additionally, we are the only neighborhood in West Hollywood bordered by 2 other municipalities, Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, creating additional challenges. Our biggest concerns are burglaries, robberies, and home invasions. Because these are single-family homes, criminals expect bigger hauls, jewelry, electronics, and other valuables, making our area a high-value target. We communicate to our members through email, our association website, and we distribute flyers for urgent or time-sensitive issues. Additionally, we participate but do not manage, host, or sponsor 3 WhatsApp discussion groups, 2 focused on general neighborhood issues, and 1 focused specifically on immediate security and safety concerns. The biggest concerns for our residents include suspicious people surveilling properties and planning crimes, homeless individuals impacting neighborhood safety and tranquility, property crimes, thefts from vehicles, home burglaries, robberies, home invasions, and of course, assaults. We appreciate the efforts of the Sheriff's Department, city staff, the ambassadors, but residents feel that there are continued unresolved issues. Suspicious folks, criminal activity, crime planning, and disturbances. Even rummaging through trash or recycling that could be linked to identity theft. But especially burglaries, robberies, and assaults are extremely concerning. Our residents are clear and firm. They want zero nuisance and even less than zero proactive crime. And they think this could be achieved through additional policing and security. We would welcome more regular direct communication and feedback on the status of issues we raise, practical tools such as updated dashboards via an app, streamlined reporting systems, and even faster response time. Most importantly, a new approach to policing and security modeled after Beverly Hills, whose public policy and city council direction is significantly firmer than West Hollywood. They have zero tolerance for homeless, troublemakers, and criminals, and that's what our residents deserve. A pilot program to install surveillance cameras and drones with 24/7 staffed monitoring to watch surveillance and dispatch police and security as needed. This would be part of a zero-tolerance, firm-hand approach augmented by AI to boost effectiveness. Beverly Hills has this system, and it's provided significant results. And lastly, similar to Beverly Hills, a security force paid for by the city. In Beverly Hills, they use Covered 6. These are highly visible, police-like SUVs. They're armed, and they provide a very proactive service. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. So now we will turn it back over to the commission for discussion, and then we still have public comments on this item.
Thank you, Secretary. Do any commissioners have comments or questions? Commissioner Holm?
Thank you, Chair. My question is Wendy Goldman, Cynthia Sunset Neighborhood Watch Group. Your bollards and streetlight issues around Station 7, where are you with that? Are they being addressed? Are these fixes in the works?
I do not know the status of either one. There was a traffic study done on Doheny and Cynthia some years ago. The pedestrian crosswalk was installed maybe 2 years ago, but I'm still getting calls about accidents at that location. The lighting at the fire department has not changed, and there are a number of incidents of robberies, armed robberies, between San Vicente and Cynthia, between between Palm and San Vicente on Cynthia. And some of it is attracted by Le Petit Hermitage Hotel. Some of it is nighttime traffic, the club traffic. And again, what my colleague from West Hollywood West was talking about with people who really case out the area and wait for someone to walk by with their dog, wearing a nice watch that they can easily remove. So they're mostly looking for victims who are vulnerable.
A question for staff. In answering our question, or asking our questions to the watch captains, what's the final result? Like, how will follow-ups be handled?
Sure. So Danny Rivas, Director of Community Safety for the City of West Hollywood. So Commissioner Holman, what we'll do is obviously we're taking notes, and so we'll be following up. Obviously the two, like the bollards, that's not something that falls under the Community Safety Department, but we'll pass that information on. I know Winnie Goldman has communicated that to the city, as well as the department that manages that process. And so we'll be sure to be, summarizing the notes that we're hearing and then passing that on to the appropriate staff.
All right, thank you, Director Rivas.
Sure.
Daniel Sackler, I missed, I apologize. What area is your watch group?
If we can actually have folks, if the commissioner, if you can ask like you just did, and then if we could have the watch captain, yeah, if you could come up, that'd be great. That way it's just on the record and community can hear it as well. Thanks so much.
We're on North Harper and Sweetser between Norton and Fountain.
And you had mentioned something about a sheriff's deputy liaison.
Several years ago, we would have several Zoom calls with the city, and also at that time it was Lieutenant Mulder, and we were talking about many of the issues that I brought up today with the ambassadors and crime and safety and issues such as that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Jonathan Feinstone, West Hollywood West.
Hi.
I'm just curious to know where crime stats are, or are you noticing an uptick in home burglaries and crimes in your area?
Whether they're actually up or they're the same or they're down, I'm not quite sure. But what I will tell you is that the feedback that I'm getting as the president of the association and also on the WhatsApp group is that people are concerned. So even if the statistics show they're here and they used to be here, people want them to be here, you know, so they want them, that's why I mentioned the word zero more than once. They want very proactive, firm policing and security to get crime to zero or near zero. And they feel that that's possible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Chair, that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ullman. Commissioner Eng.
Thank you. First off, I want to say I feel like this is a little inefficient. My questions are actually for staff, but it feels like it might be better to have each of them stand up and then everyone ask the question so they don't have to keep going back and forth. I'll just suggest that, but I'm going to ask my questions of staff and then you guys can figure out if you want to do it that way. What is the difference between an association and a watch group? Because I notice that some are calling themselves associations and some call themselves watch.
So I'll actually let Jonathan.
Well, why don't we
come
wait,
up,
and then if that
yeah.
ends up being a question, yeah.
Yeah, and Commissioner Eng, and certainly appreciate that. And normally we wouldn't allow a back and forth, but we really felt as staff, you know, this is an important item. It's an item that we know that the commission has asked before in the past, and we've also heard that, you know, from the neighborhood watch captains as well. And so I think it would be good to continue kind of the path that we're moving forward in terms of allowing certain groups and certain questions and somewhat of a dialogue, but let's all be cognizant of that as well. But yeah, you know, I'll let Jonathan again come up because he's more formal in terms of the association, but they are the only formal association, even though there may be others that term themselves that way, and I'll let them speak to that, but that's my understanding, whereas the rest are, you know, groups that have formed, folks that have volunteered, which obviously the West Hollywood West Resident Association has volunteered, and they do that as well, but maybe he can speak to kind of the formal process as it relates to that separates their association from others.
Okay, thank you. And then how much are each given for National Night Out?
So that varies, and it's dependent on the number of units in a, you know, a designated geographic area. And so when a group or association is created and established, we look at that geographic area, and then we pull data that we have that's recorded through the Los Angeles County Assessor's Office and the number of units, and then that translates to the amount of funding that a group receives. And that goes before the City Council every year as a staff item, so it is listed in a staff report, and so that's essentially how we come up with the amount of funds that are allocated for each group.
Can you tell me the range?
You know, I don't know them off the top of my
I bet you
my
these
head,
guys
but,
can, and again, I'll ask that.
Well, I don't know if the neighborhood watch groups will know off the top of that. They could probably speak to kind of the maximum, but I can pull that information up. I'll pull the staff report, and you'll be able to see exactly what that range is.
Okay, and then I guess probably not my final question, but the last one that I have for now is what happens if there's an established group and another group wants to start up with like overlay or crossover? Because one thing I notice is that we have a WeHo East and we also have a Plummer Park watch group that is listed on the site, and that would seem to be the same area.
Yeah, so in those circumstances, and Jessica kind of covered that in the PowerPoint presentation, like if we're seeing somebody who's within a certain neighborhood watch group, geographic area that we have on file, then we're going to connect, right, that resident to that neighborhood watch captain, and then allow them to maybe become a co-captain. Maybe that's something that they can establish on their block. I know there are, as mentioned by some of the neighborhood watch captains, they have different streets with co-captains right on each block, on each street. So that's something that we generally will try to encourage and suggest. But if there's already an established geographic area that we have on file, having that bifurcated or separated, we haven't come across that yet, but that's certainly something that we would help kind of mediate to the best that we can. Sure. And Jonathan, I don't know if you want to come up, not to put you on the spot, but if there's any information that you can provide as it relates to that. Commit.
Can we?
Yeah. Chair, Chair.
Yeah.
So if you feel that you'd like to take a different approach and ask to kind of mitigate how we're asking questions, but this is certainly what staff had recommended.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like people are bothered to come up to speak if they're asked a question directly. So unless there are super strong objections, I think
One of
we'll
my
proceed
favorite
this way.
gifts growing up was a microphone, Mr. Microphone, so I'm always happy to hold the microphone. We are the only 501c3. We have an elected board. We serve for 2 years. I'm new to the board about 2 years ago, and I've only been president for 1 year. And our area is starting a neighborhood watch. There's been ones in the past, but we've been a continuing organization for probably I don't even know how long our association's been, but it's been at least as long, how many years? Before the city, there you go. I was gonna say before I was born, but it's right around then. So that's what distinguishes us as an association versus a neighborhood watch. Any other questions?
What did you feel the benefit was to doing that?
The benefit to doing what?
Association versus a watch. And then I guess the second part would be if you guys do establish a watch group, then what happens and your neighbor wants to comment?
Okay, of course. So I think if we were to establish let me ask them in order, answer them in order. So the association was started before the city because of the uniqueness of West Hollywood West, even before it was named that. So the association predated probably even the concepts of neighborhood watches in this area. I'm not saying in any area, but in West Hollywood. And then as far as if we have talked to our neighbors about starting a neighborhood watch, and there are some people that are interested in that. So that's something we're going to address as part of a renewed public safety. On October 28th, over there in the Doheny room, we're going to be hosting our first town hall. We're going to have Captain Fanny Lapkin there, Danny Rivas, and Mayor Byers is coming to have a town hall about public safety, and I'm sure you'll hear about that. So there's been certainly a renewed effort, primarily through the WhatsApp group that we don't sponsor, but we're active in. I mentioned that earlier, about public safety, and there's been all the concerns I outlined earlier. So I think that formalizing a neighborhood watch as part of the association, although that's not our primary mission, makes sense, but we're going to evaluate that. Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Pilarski?
Thank you, Chair. So I think my questions are for staff a little bit. I guess I'm coming at these questions from experiences that I've heard from different organizations I'm part of in the city. So my questions around communication. I know that there are various ways that the neighborhood watches communicate. Sounds like email, flyers, and social media was top. Is there a way that the city can post the Facebook pages or the emails to the city website, or is that against the rules? I just find it that other people's experiences out there having a hard time understanding who to reach out to if they do want to become part of Neighborhood Watch.
And I'm sorry, so you're suggesting if the city could repost
No,
comments
just
that
like
are-
on the website, the email of the neighborhood, of the watch captain.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I mean, we do have a neighborhood watch, and I'm just going to switch the screen real quick so that folks know exactly what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I've seen that it has the list of the 14 groups, but it doesn't have how.
The contact list,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so that's simply something that we'll definitely discuss with
Okay.
the watch captains groups if they've established like a more general number, because obviously folks don't want to put maybe like their direct right on the
Right.
city's website, but that's definitely something that we can contact and speak with the neighborhood watch groups and the resident association, and if they do, yeah, we can certainly add that as like contact information under the groups.
Okay, I think that would be a really easy lift.
Sure.
And then looking at my experience with the WeHo Civic Leadership Academy, I thought, Mike, you had brought up a good point, some training that would be helpful to these neighborhood watch captains, learning how the city operates, the history, the department contacts. I think that program, which is starting up again in September 17th, I believe. It already started? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, we're already in October. That was a really awesome resource, and maybe we could get all of the watch captains to get enrolled in that. Oh, you are? Great, okay. Okay, just wanted to bring that up. And then a question about the quality of life concerns. A lot about code compliance and some of these sidewalk issues that are happening, not just in West Hollywood, but all over the city. I would gladly join every single one of you on a sidewalk walk. Quality of life sidewalk is very near and dear to my heart, so I will definitely be reaching out to you guys to do a walk. Thank you for coming in today. All right, that was my comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Pilarski. Commissioners, do we have any other questions? Commissioner Post.
Yeah, I'll be quick since most of my questions were already answered. Thank you all for organizing National Now within your groups. It seems like, and my question is mainly for staff as well, that the standards, I guess, that we provide for a neighborhood watch group is really that neighborhood watch handbook. Is that right? And it seems that's more guideline based, not necessarily something like we're providing bylaws that they have to abide by. Again, that's more organization. But I guess, are there any, I see that we provide those guidelines, but are there any guidelines around like restrictions or things that the watch groups aren't really in charge of, or that they should defer to like the sheriff's on or anything like that?
No, yeah, I mean, they're simply guidelines based on best practices. And neighborhood watch groups, the focus around neighborhood watch groups is crime prevention and being a liaison between law enforcement, right, and city staff, right, and the various different departments, and being that extra set of eyes and ears that I know some of the neighborhood watch captains had mentioned, right, as a part of their presentation. And so that is the focus, that's the goal, but yeah, we don't get into like different areas that there are. When we do have meetings, we have an agenda, we go over crime statistics in general, hear from the neighborhood watch captains, right, in terms of their concerns. As these meetings occur and are scheduled through each of the groups, right, throughout the city at different times, they make the request in terms of like which city representatives or public safety agency partners, right, they would prefer to have at the meetings, and maybe there's, a top 3 or a list of things that are really focused on at the time, and so that's what we try to concentrate on and stay focused on.
Thank you.
Sure.
And the only other thing I had, similar to Commissioner Pilarski, I think in addition to maybe putting these emails on the website, it would be great for us as commissioners to make sure we have all of the emails of each group and the captains. I know there might not be necessarily a way for us to communicate with them all together if there's like a Brown Act issue or anything like that. But I think having a more open mode of communication with the captains, even if that's relying on us as commissioners to be doing that on an individual basis, I think would be really important. So just making sure that we can get that list of emails after this would be great.
Commissioner Eng.
Oh, I'm going to do this. Okay, well, first off, I'm going to say that if you all want to contact us, we were given wonderful business cards by the city. You can ask all of them, all of us for one, because that's really easy to do. I actually don't know what area Tri-West is, so I'm going to make Michael Cotillo get up and tell me.
So Tri-West, it's bounded by Santa Monica Boulevard on the north, Melrose on the south, La Cienega on the east, and then it goes to Pacific Design Center or San Vicente on the west.
Okay, thank you.
And then may I try to answer two of your other questions? Thanks. So we chose to call ourselves Residents Association only because, for not the structured reason that West Hollywood West does, but because we felt that a watch group was a little Big Brother-ish and heavy-handed-ish, and we're definitely public safety focused, but we really want to build the engagement and the neighborly feeling of our neighborhood group. And that was the only reason we chose that name. There's no other reason, really. Thank you.
Okay, and then Jonathan, I'm going to suggest that you invite all the captains, or most of the captains are here, to your event in the Doheny Room. Now all 7 of us know, or 6. We'll tell Brandon. And then Daniel, I'd like to say, I know you're very active on social. I think you're very effective. I regularly interact with you as I also moderate a social page. And I see the posts that you make daily, and I see the interaction with the neighbors. I think you guys are great at communicating, so I want to compliment you on that. And then I think within best practices, something that I'll also mention is that some groups have gotten political. I'm wondering how that's dealt with, if at all, if that is addressed or dealt with.
Yeah, so we would treat any individual no differently if there's a potential violation of our municipal code or something that's brought to our attention, then we would address it in that fashion. But yeah, I guess I don't really know what to respond to in terms of like political. I don't know if everybody's welcome to their individual views, and so there's nothing formal in terms of managing like a homeowners association or CCNRs, right, or conditions or bylaws as mentioned, like the commission and whatnot. And so there's really nothing for the city to get involved with as it relates to that. If there are potential concerns or things that are brought to the city's attention, then again, we would take a look at that no differently than we would, any other report. Sure. And, I did find the staff report, and I'm just going to share that on the screen as well. Commissioner Eng, to your earlier question in terms of the funding as it relates to the units. And so the range is 3,000 to 7,000, and I'll wait for that to go on the screen. Olivia, I don't know if you can help me do that. There we go. So you're seeing that, and this is reflected every year prior to National Night Out, which always occurs in August, and so we'll always bring forth. But you can see groups of less than 500 units, they would get 3,000, and then groups of more than 2,000 units can get upwards to 7,000.
Okay, thank you. And I know that they also usually get additional funding. 7,000 is a lot. I actually have said this before, but I think it's amazing that in our city we've had so many activations. Most other cities have one event. I know the cities of Alhambra and Monterey Park had one each. So again, I just think it's amazing that NNO is like Halloween here. All right, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Eng. Commissioner Pilarski.
Thank you, Chair. I did have one clarifying question. So I heard that the city staff meets with the watch captains quarterly with emergency responders and the watch captains quarterly. Is that
Correct.
Okay.
As a group, in terms of kind of the leadership of the neighborhood watch groups, yes, it's
Okay.
quarterly. Sometimes it's a little more frequent as we get into like National Night Out. Sometimes we'll schedule like a bi-monthly, check-in as a part of the planning phase.
Okay. And so some of the groups meet maybe once a year, twice a year, but they are meeting 4 times a year with city staff. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And no neighbors are invited to those meetings, right? It's just watch captains?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay.
And it's the expectation, the responsibility for the neighborhood watch captains, right, to then disseminate and pass that information that's being shared.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Plexi. I just wanted to comment from a comment that was made earlier regarding recognition of National Night Out. I hope that I made it clear, I think, in the Public Safety Commission meeting following it, but it was fantastic. I agree with Commissioner Yang. It does feel like its own special thing citywide, which is really, the only challenge, I think, is to get to all of them. But I really just want to make sure that that's clear and underlined and bolded, that it was really amazing to see the effort, and to see a new one on my old street pop up on Flores was great. But yeah, I just wanted to make that very clear to everyone. We know the hard work that goes into that. With that, Commissioner Holman.
Thank you, Chair. Director Rivas, I'm curious. I think maybe a couple of us here on the dais as commissioners would like to maybe meet with the different watch captains and walk their neighborhoods. Is it possible to do some type of organization through staff that can help us make these arrangements, if you would like to have us for the different watch groups or associations, and then those commissioners that can make it, are available, just so we have something structured and organized?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely something. We'll send out an email. We constantly are communicating with our neighborhood watch groups and the resident associations, and so we'll send out an email following, this meeting and this item. We know how important it is, and certainly appreciate the folks that came out, to represent each of their neighborhoods. We understand that some folks couldn't make it, this evening, but absolutely, we can send out an email, ask the neighborhood watch group captains and resident associations their level of interest in terms of doing that, and kind of explaining, right, the discussion as well for those that couldn't attend this evening. And then based on the responses, and we can connect that and pass that information on to the commission.
Okay, great. And finally, I just want to say thank you all for being here. I did this for a decade on the East Side. It's a tremendous amount of work and volunteer time, but it's a commitment, and I think people do it because of the love they have for their neighborhoods. So thank you for participating.
Commissioner Nickel.
Thank you, Chair. So there was the mention of some of the watch groups being political. This is something that needs to be discussed now, because there's been a lot of digital ink that has been spilled about this, and it is specific to our watch group on the East Side. So I'm in a bit of a strange position as a commissioner and as a co-captain of the East Side Watch Group, but we're going to have a discussion now. Director Rivas, you are familiar with the watch groups. You're active with us, you meet with us. I know that, Anita often does, but you're here tonight. So on March 3rd of this year, was the WeHo East Side Neighborhood Watch Group in existence?
Yes.
Was it active?
Yes.
And the Ogden Owls?
Yes.
Okay, I say this because that evening at the council meeting, council member Erickson told the city manager that there was no watch group on the East Side. So I was watching, I came in, I stood up, and as many of you did tonight, I spoke and I said, actually, there are 2 of us. They're the Ogden Owls, they're WeHo East Side. We're both in existence and we're both active. After that, in his commission comments, he said that we're basically non-existent, and then he started talking about how we had become political. Now, this goes back to a meeting, I believe, that was organized by Kathy Blavis and Stephanie Harker, who spoke tonight, who often speak here. Director Rivas, you are familiar with the different people who are active in these watch groups. To your knowledge, is Stephanie Harker and Kathy Blavis in the WeHo East Side Neighborhood Watch Group?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, and I don't have knowledge of that. But and Commissioner Nickel, I mean, certainly appreciate your comments and your feedback, but we really need to stay on topic in terms of the update that's being provided to the commission as it relates to the Neighborhood Watch program. And so we want to continue with any questions that are specific to the Neighborhood Watch groups that are here in attendance. And certainly, welcome to have a conversation with you separately.
No, this is important, so I can certainly ask some questions, but I just want to make it very clear that here's a good question for you. Residents who are not members of Neighborhood Watch groups, even if they live in the neighborhood of the Neighborhood Watch group, are certainly allowed to assemble, are they not?
You mean within a neighborhood group? Absolutely. I mean, if
Yes.
there's residents that want to reach out to different residents and want to gather and discuss topics, they certainly can.
Very good. So this is what happened. There were concerns in the neighborhood, and both of these women have lived here for a long time. They have been active. They helped save Plummer. They did save Plummer Park, Great Hall, Long Hall, and they know a lot about activism. So when there were parking spaces being taken away from Gardner, they held a meeting. And yes, I did go and I spoke. Kevin Burton went and spoke. A lot of people went and spoke. But that was used as an excuse to say that our Neighborhood Watch group became political. It wasn't a Neighborhood Watch group meeting. It was a meeting.
I think can we have a point of order?
Yeah, excuse me. We need to, I'm no longer chair, but we need to stay on task. We're here to listen to our watch group captains. This is not a political forum. I think that's a completely different discussion. I'm sorry. I think we need to stay on task and move on.
Well, then Commissioner Ang said that some of the groups got political. I would like her to explain that.
Well, I'm gonna intervene on both. I'm gonna intervene on both of your behalves. Then can we move on, because our Neighborhood Watch captains have come, dedicated their time. They already dedicate a lot of time to us. So can we please move on and get back to the business at hand? And these conversations will have to take place separately and outside of this meeting, if
Well,
that's
then
okay.
I would like to just say something. I know that, actually a question for staff. It is very difficult to recruit. We often do this through National Night Out, so there was some discussion about how to get more people involved. I brought this up to Anita. Is it possible, and I know that we're all very independent, we want to keep our independence, but is it possible to maybe, since it's a very targeted thing for parking permits, that when the bills go out to pay your parking permit, that there's at least something on there to say there's a Neighborhood Watch group in your area. If you're interested in getting involved, please contact the city, and then you could have the city email.
So I certainly don't want to speak for, the Parking Services Division of our Public Works Department. As we mentioned a little earlier, if there's an opportunity to kind of, add something potentially to that, I don't know, but we can certainly ask that question to our Public Works Department.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. Commissioner Hallman?
I've lost my train of thought, I have to be honest with you, because that went on ad nauseum and it was completely unnecessary. I need to think about what I was going to say.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hallman. Any other commissioner comments or questions? See any? Do we have any public speakers, Secretary?
Yes, we have quite a few public speakers. David Eckert, if you're still here, you can approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
I promise it's the last time I'll speak tonight. First of all, regarding, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but making it public, or what's the word, political. Everything has become politicized lately, so I don't know if that's even an argument to make anymore. That's just public opinion on which way you want to say. It's just the world we live in now, unfortunately. So I'm sorry that people think that. I want to thank the Neighborhood Watch Group captains. Like, you guys do an amazing job, and I unfortunately live in one of those dead zones, so I'm a nomad to each of these groups, and you all are great at what you do. Suggestion, now that WeHo Public Access TV is coming back, I would love if you all got together, and I would actually host it as a roundtable discussion on the neighborhood group, watch groups, coming together quarterly and letting the public really get involved in this. I look at myself and our ages, and I'd love to get younger people involved in these organizations. It seems like there's a gap between the youth and who actually comes and shows up, and I think we can start pulling people in together, and I think that public access is a great beginning to that. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Do we still have Helen Krieger? She walked out? Okay. Anita Gwaswamy, did you want to speak on this item? Okay.
Yes, hi. Okay, there we go. Hi there. I'm Anita Goswami. I'm a longtime resident of West Hollywood. I have been a neighborhood captain for West Hollywood West since the late 80s, so it has been around. The organization was actually a key driver of creating the city. And this again comes back to the strength of neighborhoods and the strength of people coming together. When we talk about politics, the root of the word politics is people. And when we look at Neighborhood Watch, what we're looking at here is public safety. Parking spaces are public safety, I'm going to argue. You know, these kinds of things, these are all important to us. If we, so this is just, when we say, is it keeping the politics out? We saw this with Fountain Avenue. We saw these with all of these things going on. West Hollywood West has seen this with different things that we have fought for in terms of traffic studies, traffic safety, safety on our streets. And another thing with Neighborhood Watch, it's not just West Hollywood West. It is not just the Owls. We are here together. And that's something that I think also that the Public Safety Commission and the city should be aware of, which is we are together as one city, as one group of residents. The issues that affect one affect all of us. You're seeing these common themes around public safety, around the issues of just safety in our homes, safety on our streets. We're seeing this. I'm worried about more alcohol on Santa Monica Boulevard, noise, all of these things. West Hollywood is a vibrant, wonderful community. We helped make it that way. We are the ones who helped build it. We're the ones who helped continue it. We've got a vested interest in making this city even more wonderful and helping it survive. We talked about someone spoke about the economic issues that are going on. So this is also part of how we can all be involved. I would look at us to have a stronger voice, if nothing else, to have more of a voice in all areas, because that's who we are. We are not just Neighborhood Watch, we are the people of West Hollywood. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Helen Krieger, are you here? Oh, it's for the general comments. Oh, for general, okay. So we'll move on. Kathy Blavis, if you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kathy Blavis, City of West Hollywood. I first want to address something, Commissioner Ang, that you brought up about overlapping neighborhood watches. Over 20 years ago, Anson Snyder and I kind of inherited the Plummer Park Neighborhood Watch. We did it for a couple of years. It included the Russian community. It was very unsuccessful in the sense that we couldn't get people to show up at meetings. We couldn't get volunteers for Neighborhood Watch when we had a whopping $400 given to us by the city. So it kind of fizzled out, and the Russian community kind of took over, if you will, and created the Russian Advisory Board's Neighborhood Watch. So although I am still on the Plummer Park Neighborhood Watch list, we are inactive, so we, I would imagine, are kind of swallowed up by the East Side Neighborhood Watch. I wasn't going to address anything about the politics of Neighborhood Watch, but since it was brought up, as Commissioner Nichols said, Stephanie Harker and I were concerned that the neighbors on Gardner were not informed that they were going to be losing 56% of their parking. So we went door to door, we spoke to people, we found out the neighbors knew nothing about the bike lanes on Gardner. We called a meeting, we had the meeting, we engaged other residents within the area who were going to be impacted by this. We had volunteers. George Nickel was one of the members of the community that was impacted by this. We had volunteers. We created and had a meeting. The first thing I said, because I conducted that meeting, was that it was about the process, that it's not about pros and cons of bike lanes. It was about the process, that the community was totally and completely left out of the conversation by the council. I also stated it was non-political. This was not a campaign event. This was community. So the fact that it got misrepresented by people other than us as being political is on those people and not on our meeting. So I resent that that happened. I resent that it's now a blanket conversation about the East Side Neighborhood Watch, because it is not political.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we have Jonathan Feinstone. If you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, I just want to invite all of you to the Tuesday, October 28th at 6:30 in the dining room, and we'll be having very good pizza, and I'd like to extend that invitation also to the block captains. I think I have all their emails, but if they're still here, it's for the block captains, not for everyone in their neighborhood, because we do want to keep it a West Hollywood West meeting, but it's certainly open. We would love for you to join us, and obviously the block captains. Look forward to seeing you there in the Doheny room. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And our final speaker is Larry Block. You will have 3 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Larry Block, West Hollywood. I thought I would just answer a few questions like Catherine asked about the difference between an association and a neighborhood watch. Well, an association, they pay dues, they don't share mailing lists, they have the mailing list is private and confidential to the association. It's not used for other political purposes. They have an ice cream social where they don't endorse candidates. And the leaders of the group are not political. They don't even give you an endorsement until after their endorsement meeting. So there's a big difference between the neighborhood watch and the neighborhood association. Excuse me, out of breath. My two friends here from the Tri-West group, the Tri-West group, I don't agree that it should be called an association. There should be rules that there should be a watch or an association. It used to be a neighborhood watch. When did it become a neighborhood association too? So a neighborhood association, like a 501c3, is specific to West Hollywood West. And when everybody's talking about themselves like political, I could tell you what Michael Cotillo from my neighborhood watch group sent me an email inviting me to Thrive LA so we can change our city council. I answered him right on the spot. What are you doing? Why are you being political with our neighborhood association? So while the East Side is taking all the responsibility as if it's the only one, it's all about them. It's a common thing, and I address that directly to my own neighborhood association. With regards to George or whatever he says about March 3rd, I don't know why he has to have such approval on March 3rd that Erickson would have acknowledged him. I studied that tape. You're welcome to study that tape. He never ever said, I'm not here to defend him. He never ever said there's no neighborhood watch group. He said, I don't know if there's a neighborhood watch group anymore. And you keep making it a definite statement like he said that. And he didn't say that. I'm not here to defend him. Go read the tape. I put it in words because that's the truth. And that's what makes it political, lies. When people start lying to each other and lying about what they said, and using it for bike lanes as the neighborhood watch group on this side or that side. That's the problem. So I hope that can be reined in so we can really all function like 10 great neighborhood watch groups and everybody can feel welcome at all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And then our last speaker is going to be Michael Cotillo. Then we will need to move on with the rest of the agenda.
Thank you. So I just want to clarify something. My name is pronounced Michael Cotillo, okay? I want to say something else. I didn't want to talk about politics. I'm not here for politics. But when people conflate politics with bike lanes or politics with the sheriff department, that's public safety. That's public safety. If you take away lanes on Fountain, that's a public safety issue. So we have a right as residents or as captains to talk about bike lanes or to talk about the sheriff's department. Or, you know, we're not trying to be political. We are an engaged community and we're just trying to get our neighborhood together. We don't impose an opinion on anything. We just offer information. We send out information. If we send out something that somebody doesn't like, I want them, as a captain, to come to me and tell me they don't like something I sent out. Or they can come and they can help us. Or they can get out of the way. But we don't need people going behind people's backs saying, oh, what you did was wrong, and like going to staff and saying something like that. This is me speaking personally from experience. And so I challenge people like our neighbor Larry, if you have an issue, and he did in that one instance, he directly mentioned something to me, but I don't, like, this is a volunteer thing. I'm almost 3 hours here. I'm not getting paid for this. I work 60 hours a week, okay? So like, when somebody wants to criticize the job we're doing, come and help us. And then I just want to, it brings up a question that Commissioner Eng brought up. You were wondering about overlap. I will tell you, Bob was our neighborhood captain when I started calling around asking who our captain was. We had lived in the same neighborhood for about 30 years. We never met each other, which is one of the beautiful things about Neighborhood Watch or Residents Association. And by the way, we choose to call ourselves Residents Association. That's the definition of what West Hollywood, what Larry offered was the definition of what West Hollywood West structure is. That's not the definition of a residents association. So we can call ourselves what we choose to. But to answer your question, Commissioner, when I got involved, I worked with Bob because we have a big neighborhood. But for some captains, it's too big of a job to do. So then they do divide it into two smaller groups. So I don't see it as overlap. I just see making the job more manageable to be effective. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. And that is all the public comments.
Thank you very much. And item number 9 on the agenda we'll hear is items from staff.
Thank you, Chair. Danny Rivas again, Director of Community Safety for the City of West Hollywood. First and foremost, I just want to thank the Neighborhood Watch captains and resident associations. Truly want to thank them, and I know there was a comment also about National Night Out, and you know it's a huge, heavy lift for each and every single one of them, and they did a fantastic job this year. And I would also be remiss to mention that there's a lot of staff time too. Our public safety team, Jessica, who's here sitting to my right, and Anita, who's on a well-deserved vacation, who's not here, and Margarita and all the rest of the staff. So I just want to thank also our public safety partners. I mean, they're obviously involved and make sure that they're doing their rounds and attending all the National Night Out activations. And so certainly want to make sure everybody knows that you are valued and recognized for all the hard work that everybody does. So thank you all. I know that Anita typically has a series of updates, and so I'm going to keep mine very, very brief just in the interest of time. But there is tomorrow evening a community open house at the Holloway Interim Housing Program facility. And so that's been a long time coming. It is on the City of West Hollywood's calendar, so inviting all of the community to come out. Tomorrow there is ribbon cutting at 5:30 p.m. and then at 6 p.m. Community members will be invited for a tour of the facility. So if folks have time to make it out, please make some time to attend that important facility ribbon cutting. I know Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Duran did mention that the full swing of activations that are up and coming. I can't believe it's going to be October 1st on Wednesday, and before we know it, we have AIDS Walk that's on October 12th, and then shortly thereafter we have Halloween Carnival upon us, and so we're certainly in the swing of all of that as well. And then the last thing that I just wanted to make mention is I did want to introduce to the commission, to the community, our partners at Allied Universal, the management that will be taking over for the Security Ambassador Program. That is set to begin on October 1st, so Wednesday, the beginning of the month. Allied Universal will be transitioning in terms of all the Security Ambassador services. The city will be working with our communications department in terms of issuing a press release like we've done in the past, and that will outline the new telephone number for the Security Ambassador Services program. The two existing numbers that have been utilized for quite some time will be forwarded over to this new number. The kiosk locations, and so the podiums that folks are familiar with that have been wrapped with the number and the different services that security ambassadors provide to our community, those will begin being rebranded and so rewrapped with the new number, and it will continue to outline the same level of services, right, that are being communicated now. And so that will begin on October 1st, so this Wednesday as well. Folks will begin starting to see those kiosks transition. So probably say within 48 hours by Thursday, all the kiosks that you would see out will be rewrapped. The other change that folks will notably view is that the uniforms will be different. And so currently the security ambassadors are in a blue and black polo shirt with black pants. They will retain the black pants, but the polo shirt will now transition to a yellow and black polo. And so that will provide higher visibility for our security ambassadors in the evening and early morning hours, and obviously based on the input and feedback that we had acquired when bringing an item before the Public Safety Commission to discuss that specifically. And so now I'd like to ask management from Allied to come up and provide a brief introduction to the commission and to the community, so folks can meet these folks now. And of course, this will not be the first time that we'll be doing this. We'll be making sure that we're continuing our outreach efforts. And so with that, I will turn it over to Alan Gonzalez.
This thing on. Good evening. My name is Alan Gonzalez, client manager for Allied Universal, representing the West LA branch, covers the West LA region. I apologize. Is this better? There we go.
Yeah, pull it as close as you can. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So yes, I am what they call a client manager within the company. A client manager is responsible for overseeing multiple accounts, multiple security operations. I do, under my umbrella, also have other similar type of operations pertaining to public safety, bike patrol, similar. In general, every individual neighborhood has its differences. This operation here is its own unique thing as well. My role here is to support Valerie here. And Valerie here is going to be our general manager, taking over starting on the 1st. Okay, to my left is Matthew. I'll let Matthew introduce himself.
Hey, good evening, Commissioners, community of West Hollywood. My name is Matthew Prokopovich. I'm the Director of Operations for Allied Universal. So my role predominantly is supporting the wider team alongside Alan and Valerie to ensure that you as a community get the service that you're looking for. That's 24 hours, 7 days a week. And especially over the challenging periods that you experience. So yeah, hand it back over to Alan.
Okay. And with that, I'll let Valerie introduce herself as well.
Good evening, everyone. First off, thank you for having me here. And just to introduce myself, I bring over 10 years management experience. I've done a little bit of everything. I am excited to be here and excited for the new beginnings.
Thank you. It's my first time sitting in a meeting here. I must say, and I think I'll echo what Erica said as she was making her remarks, you all have something very unique here. The amount of involvement and passion and dedication to this community is evident, and it's not all that common to see this kind of involvement. It's clear you all care very much about your community. We want to help you to make it better. That's what we're here for. Our role is to be accessible, to be your eyes and ears, right? To be, to advocate in our way for these goals that you have in mind for your community. And that means being able to identify where we have our issues, where we have problems, how we can make things better. This will be an ongoing evolution, right? This operation here, this program will not be a static program, right? We have to be nimble. We have to be able to move on our feet and address changing conditions, right, as they occur. And that, one, starts with our team doing what it's here to do: observe and report, being accessible, reaching out to people. These are all key aspects that will serve to make us successful. And then by the same token, if you all feel empowered, right, to to reach out to us, to know that the issues you bring to our attention, they will be taken seriously, and to know that while I can never promise anybody that everything's going to be perfect, I can tell you we'll do our level best to give you what you need. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
No questions, just certainly just an introduction, and appreciated you all, being here and introducing yourselves. I know there were some comments as well that were made a little early on in the meeting, and so just wanted to share with the commission and the community as well that, certainly this transition is as a result of a request for proposal process that the city initiated earlier this year. There have been several discussions, and ultimately an item came before the city council. There was a press release that was issued by the city's communication department outlining the decision and kind of providing some background, and that was issued in August of this year. And in addition to that, we've had 2 community outreach meetings as well that was an opportunity for the community to meet with Allied Universal representatives, the city as well, to kind of answer those questions. Both of those community outreach sessions occurred this month, one on September 16th and one on September 23rd. And so it won't be the final outreach, as I mentioned early on. We're going to be continuing to do our outreach efforts. The level of services that folks are accustomed to in terms of the safety escorts, the kiosk locations that you're seeing out and about, the fixed security locations at city facilities, all of that is going to continue and be maintained. And as I mentioned, we're just going to continue to kind of work through hearing the input and feedback. There's obviously going to be, existing staff from our current provider, block by block, that are going to continue with the Security Ambassador program here for the city of West Hollywood, and will transition to Allied Universal. And so looking forward to continuing to sustain the services and meeting the expectations of the community. And so that concludes my comments, and open up to any commissioners.
Thank you. We still have public comments, second round of public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we do. First, we have Lala Kamian. If you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having this meeting. I want to thank everybody here who is a captain. I had no idea we had neighborhood watch groups. I would like to know which one is in our group. I want to thank Stephanie Harper for actually posting in the next door about Fountain Street parking. That's how I started getting involved. And so basically it's about Jackie Harrington, who's been arrested. And he also walked into our building. Not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, and thank God our neighbor's Ring camera caught him. And I know that he's arrested right now, but he's not the first one. We've had other intruders walking into our building, and I'm becoming more and more paranoid, actually, when I see people walking into our streets. I'm talking fast. My neighbors and I are very thankful of KTLA 5 News. KTLA 5 was the first one to report on this, and specifically I'm very thankful of Rachel Manitoff for covering this on Sunday and posting it. And we are very thankful of law enforcement here in West Hollywood, and they've always been very helpful. I moved here about 25 years ago, and I found it very comfortable. That's why I've been living here for a long time. As a straight woman, because this is an LGBT mostly city, I'm me, and I can talk about every other woman who is straight like me and single. We feel very safe here. We've been feeling very safe here. And I would like the safety to continue. Of course, we've seen changes happen, specifically after COVID lockdown and everything. And I'm worried about Fountain Street bike lane, because once they create it, people who have parking spots, they're going to be parked in like few blocks away, and they have to walk at home late at night. And I'm very, very worried about that, about their safety. And this is all I can say right now. And I would like to be in touch with our neighborhood watch. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lala. Next, we have Helen Greiger. If you want to approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you guys for having me again. I just have 2 quick updates. One of them is mainly for the Sheriff's Department. I just wanted to pass along some neighbor comments that we got at our last Transportation and Mobility Commission meeting. We had done a traffic study on, well, we hadn't done, but the city had commissioned a traffic study on San Vicente. And one of the things that the neighbors brought up, they didn't love the results that the traffic study came up with, the suggestions that they came up with, but they did want us to pass along to the Sheriff's Department and to anyone else that there are huge problems on San Vicente, especially with people coming south, basically from here and from Melrose, that there's a lot of speeders, there's a lot of people that aren't stopping at the stop signs. And particularly neighbors were showing up from Rangeley, Dorrington, Ashcroft, Sherbourne Drive, because sometimes Sherbourne is a little cut through that people take from Beverly. And so they wanted to just draw attention to that. They really appreciated that the people in the city were looking at that area of San Vicente, but they wanted to just reiterate that there's a lot of speeding happening there and not a ton of enforcement that they see. So I just wanted to pass that on from them. And then I wanted to, for Commissioner Eng, I just wanted to give a quick update because you had mentioned the pickup service. We have a new provider for that now, and so hopefully the pickup service will be starting up again by the end of October, fingers crossed. So we're all very glad to hear that. Thank you all.
Thank you, Helen. Next, we have Ed Holman.
Good evening. Once again, Ed Holman, 29-year resident, West Hollywood. I just wanted to bring, hope this doesn't get political, about the fountain. On Saturday, there was construction at 8375 Fountain, and they closed off the westbound lanes from Flores to DeLongpre. And they had a detour sign up telling people to go up the 1300 block of Flores to DeLongpre to make back down to Fountain, but instead everyone was turning left down, sorry, moving for you guys, down the, that's why I thought this was, they were gonna be gone. I didn't want to take them sitting there, sorry. The traffic was a massive flow of traffic coming down Flores, and that street the street is super narrow, and if this is the future of what we're gonna have once the Fountain project happens, this is not good for the side streets of West Hollywood. I have video of the cars just streaming, well, they weren't going fast because there was so much traffic, but just a line of cars that took up the entire length of Flores. I'm trying to find the video. It was crazy, and I was trying to bring it to the attention of the traffic guys, like, Sweetser is much wider and can take this traffic. Flores cannot. I can't really get you guys to see this, but there's just a line of cars coming from Fountain south on the 11 and 1200 block of Flores Street. Not safe for the seniors, not safe for people trying to cross the dock. There was a lady trying to get out of her driveway and couldn't because there's so many cars. This is just what we're gonna have on our street with this Fountain project. So I wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Next, we have Kathy Blavis. Do you want to approach the podium? You'll have 3 minutes.
Kathy Blavis, City of West Hollywood. Thank you again for hearing my comment this evening. I ran out of time with the previous comment because I went off in a direction I hadn't planned. I was remiss in not really thanking all of the neighborhood watch captains and all the participants because, as I mentioned, the Plummer Park neighborhood watch failed because we didn't have people showing up. We didn't have volunteers. So I know from experience just how hard it is to get people. So I applaud all the neighborhood watch captains in the neighborhoods. And I also, Todd, want to take this time to acknowledge you in your 10 years. Your neighborhood watch events, your National Night Out events were stellar. You were an excellent neighborhood watch captain. And I say that because I mean it. So thank you all for really doing your job in terms of neighborhood watch and getting people there and really caring. And I thank you all commissioners for caring as well. And I also thank the staff for the hard work that they do for Neighborhood Watch throughout the year.
Thank you, Kathy. And our final speaker is Jonathan Feinstone.
I'm leaving after this, so I won't have comments on anything else. Just 2 notes about the ambassador program and the transition to this new entity. The ambassadors were incredibly reachable, especially via iMessage. iMessage provides a lot of advantages over texting, so I hope that that's something that texting or calling. You know that they got the message, you know that it was read, they were highly responsive, but I would encourage that the city implement the same technology with the new company, specifically using iMessage, not WhatsApp, not texting. Most people do use iPhone. Obviously, they could have texting, but it'd be great to still have iMessage. The second thing is I'd like the city to look into 311. Los Angeles offers a program like that. It's absolutely horrible, but it is a super easy to remember number for non-emergencies. So the city should look into having a 311 to reach whatever the new ambassador program is going to be called. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our final speaker will be David Eckert. If you want to approach the podium, you have 3 minutes.
I'll make it quick. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. I so appreciate your opinions on things, and I love debating discussions that maybe we don't agree on, that we can all come together. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And I especially want to thank Danny Rivas, who I don't think gets enough credit in this town for keeping us safe. I adore you. I think you're brilliant. I truly, we are blessed to have you in this city. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. You always listen to me, and I ramble, so I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you, David. And that is all the public comments.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to item 11, which is commissioner comments. Do any commissioners have any comments at this time? Commissioner Post?
Yep, I'll go ahead. Part of this was in response to city comments and the ambassadors. I did attend both of those events that Denny mentioned, and just appreciate Alan and crew being at both of those. It definitely was more of a community meeting, I would say, than a job fair. So I appreciate them being there to listen to the community, especially. And during that meeting, it sounded like there'd also be an addition to the West Hollywood app now that we'd be able to notify Allied through that app, which was not previously available. I just wanted to confirm, and it looks like Danny's shaking his head over there. So appreciate that addition and tool that folks will be able to use directly to reach out to them via app. And I also just wanted to ask, will we receive like new marketing materials with like the number and things like that? I don't know if that's a rollout with a press release or if that'll take a little bit more time to get to, but assuming we'll also have those come to us.
Absolutely, and thank you, Commissioner Coates, for that. So there will be a new category getting to the city's official app, and so for folks that are used to submitting requests for service as it relates to, code enforcement issues or a pothole or graffiti, you'll also be able to submit through the city's official app as well for security ambassador services. And then to answer your second question or comment was as it relates to new marketing material. So yeah, so we're working with our communications department. There'll be a new mailer that will be sent out citywide. The refrigerator magnets were a hit when we did it maybe about a year or two ago, and so we're gonna be updating that magnet and that brochure with the new number, and we understand that it's going to take some time for folks to kind of get acclimated to updating the contact information that they have. I know I'm going to take advantage too. I know Jonathan had left, but he asked if we're going to maintain that text feature, and so the new number that we're going to be rolling out will provide that feature. It'll be the call and text as well.
Awesome, thank you for that. Danny, I had a few other quick comments, namely in my Human Services Liaison position, I did go to the Human Services Committee. Similarly, they flagged the Holloway opening. I encourage all commissioners to attend that. They also debriefed the Human Services contracting agreements, which again, over 35 different programs and $8.5 billion to really fund the programs that hopefully get folks diverted away from our public safety teams. And so really proud of their work and the fact that emergency communications are included in those agreements with those service providers. Also discussed at that Human Services Commission meeting, as well as the homelessness subcommittee meeting that was last week that I attended, was the multidisciplinary response team, which was brought to us a few months ago, and I believe an item is coming before the council in October about this, but I know I'm looking forward to seeing that come to fruition. They're in just their first stage of audit and framework design, another stage of really talking about protocols and escalation. So where does a case go from WeHo Cares and Healthcare in Action to the security ambassadors and to the sheriff? And so I'm really looking forward to Denny still being a part of that and receiving updates through them. And I think trying to do some type of mailer or graphic that really shows the process flow of that. I know we'll definitely have very discrete protocols for the behind the scenes that the Human Services and the sheriffs are working on, but something that's a little bit more generic that shows folks am I in a situation where it's a threat or not? And this goes to the sheriffs. Am I in a situation where it's a homelessness, an individual experiencing homelessness, or is it someone that has an actual injury? I think some of those things are intuitive for some of our residents, and for the most part, I think we would hope that regardless of the number they call, that the city can direct them to the right services. But some of those moments, the easier and quicker that we can get them to the right resource, the better. So I think making sure that we have an informed public on where they should be calling is really important. So those are all of my updates from the human services side. And the last piece, I also attended the WeHo Public Access opening that was mentioned. I think that is, again, a great tool that we now have available to us to hopefully use in other emergency situations, should something arise, even similar to like the fires. I hope we'll be able to use that channel for emergency messaging in the future as well. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Post. Commissioner Ng?
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to start by saying that I asked the question about politics in the watch groups because the watch groups get money from the city, and essentially what I meant was endorsement. Clearly I was vague, and where the answers went was revelatory. Next, I'll say that I want to thank Erica Leon. I know she's not here anymore, but I'm deeply appreciative of the service that we receive from Block by Block. I did attempt to meet with Allied this last Tuesday, but your meeting was actually here, and I think originally was advertised in WeHo Park, Plummer Park, and I wasn't able to make it. So I will be coming over to your office. I live very close to there, and trust me, I utilize the service regularly. You will come to know me. So I'm looking forward to your activity or your activation in the city on Wednesday. I'll come over to the office on Thursday. How's that? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ng. Any additional? Commissioner Filarski? I see you
Sorry
trying.
about that. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I had a bunch of stuff, but I'm just going to keep it quick. I just wanted to echo what Anita said. I think it was so powerful when she said, like, there truly is no city like West Hollywood, and we all have things that we want to talk about, but we are the people of WeHo, and all of us in this room care so much about the city. We should all just be like so proud that we're taking so much of our time to commit to our neighbors and the safety of our city, especially in what's going on in the world. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to our first responders for their work, especially during these really hard times. I know Halloween is going to be extremely elevated this year. The gun violence that's happening in this country is unbelievable. So I just want to say that you know, all of us stand with you, and anything that we can do to make your job easier, we will do that. Thank you to staff as well for all the tireless effort over the past month. I wanted to say one thing before I go into my moments about safe spaces, and just take a moment to acknowledge how important it is to keep our public process and our public meetings safe spaces. Just avoid predatory language, actions inside and out of these meetings. We all want to come with curiosity, so if you're talking to a neighbor, try to approach it from that space, and just be careful of the information you're consuming and where it's coming from. To Mr. Eckert, I am a scooter and a bicycle user, and I sympathize with your frustrations that were voiced earlier in public comment. And it's frustrating when people abuse that system. I do say it is a lifeline for a huge percentage of our city. So I think, you know, we got to find a way to coexist with this program. And I'm here for it. I did want to say that the phase 1 of Accessible WeHo self-assessment concluded on August 30th. So that was WeHo City's self-assessment of all of the sidewalks and the public facilities and all these things that they're looking at for accessibility. Accessibility is public safety. If things are inaccessible or dangerous, that happens to affect us. So looking forward to the phase 2 of that program. And I also will be joining the Holloway House opening tomorrow. And on Wednesday, there's a Metro K-Line Northern Extension virtual meeting for those interested in some of the public transportation items. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Pilarski. Any additional questions or comments? Commissioner Nickel.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Chair. Well, first off, thank you so much to Erica Leon. It's a tough job, as I think that the people who are going to be taking over from her will learn, but it's rewarding, and the people of West Hollywood appreciate all that she did and all of the people who worked for Block by Block did. And I welcome Allied Universal. I look forward to working together, and I'll give you my card. Reach out if you have any questions or anything. I did, as a liaison to the Disabilities Advisory Board, I did visit the last two meetings, and the one was very good because Manager Shandy actually presented for emergency preparedness specifically to the disabled community, and they had a very good conversation. The last meeting, they did the Disability Advisory Board Awards, which will be coming up, so look out for that. It's always a really great event. Normally it's held right here, I believe. And then the district attorney has finally provided stickers that they had been talking about doing. These stickers are for windows in businesses, and they specifically say that if there's a robbery in these stores, that they will be prosecuted, and they're big, and they're yellow, and they're black, and hopefully it makes people think twice about doing something. I did give a stack of them to the Chamber of Commerce. I can certainly give them more if they run out. So if any businesses are listening and they would like some for their stores, I gave some locally to my local stores as well. Please just reach out to them and ask for them. And again, to all the Neighborhood Watch captains, thank you so much for coming. And Neighborhood Watch groups mean a lot, and the associations, the residents' associations. I think that we all need to remember that these people give their time and their talent. They often spend their own money on things that they never look for reimbursement for to get things moving, to hold events. People come together and they do it for one simple reason, and it is because they love the city and they want their neighborhoods to be better. And that is to be celebrated. It's to be celebrated. So thank you to all of you. I've been honored to be part of Neighborhood Watch groups since 2018, I believe. And I was hoping very much that this would not come up tonight. I expected it to come up. Neighborhood watch groups don't just act as a liaison for public safety issues. That's the main thing. But public safety, as some of the speakers spoke, it's also affected by things like bike lanes on Fountain. Another important thing are quality of life issues. When I started my neighborhood watch group, which I did, and Danny, I sent you an email earlier so that you could see as well that I started a neighborhood watch group, 2018, which was later merged into the larger WeHo East Side Neighborhood Watch Group. But one of the main concerns that my neighbors had was actually development. And I think if you talk to a lot of watch groups, that you'll hear that. The development is a major issue. So people come together and they have concerns about it. And when you take these things together, when you're talking about things like neighborhood, about bike lanes and development, you have outside special interests who throw a lot of money around. It is in some people's best interest to keep them happy. Neighborhood watch groups are not being political by pushing back on things like defunding or taking away parking spaces. They're simply advocating for what they're hearing neighbors care about. And yes, another thing that does happen in neighborhood watch groups is people learn about the city, they meet their neighbors, they're only going to do it if they care enough about their city to do it. And they might eventually do a shocking thing like run for city council. Councilmember Meister got her start in West Hollywood West Residents Association. does not make them political. Our watch group certainly did not endorse. They don't endorse. I just want to say this. So again, I am sorry that if the spotlight was taken away from the celebration that we should have been happening about neighborhood watch groups, but you have all been hearing a lot about this, that it's become political. It's not political to stand up for what your neighbors really ask you about and what you believe in. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nickel. I just want to echo that the time spent, I think we talk a lot about our partners, and Block by Block has been a partner. Allied, welcome. We look forward to you joining this community in a significant and meaningful way where people do feel safer, and you're addressing the concerns that we hear repeatedly, regardless of what neighborhood you are in. It's pretty consistent, so you have a big job ahead of you. We look forward to seeing you participate in the community. But I just want to say, like, the neighborhood watch groups, I mean, you're sort of that line that's not recognized as often during these meetings. We get our reports, so this has been great to hear directly from you all, and you're just an extra layer of protection for, I think, all of the residents in this city across so many different areas. So just want to thank you for your participation tonight and every night, because we know it's every night that you're probably doing something on behalf of the residents of this city, and specifically within your watch groups. So thank you. And unless there are any additional comments or questions, the meeting is adjourned.